Welcome to California. I am back live with y'all, and this is just going to be an Ask Me Anything hangout. I'm just crossing a really awesome milestone, and we're about to hit 19K subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, definitely lock in. This is going to be really fun. And today we're going to be talking a lot about, cursors. Basically, they've improved their agent quite a bit, and they've released this awesome blog post on December 1st, a couple days ago. I've been playing around with their model, and I really have been liking it a lot. It's incredible how much more efficiency jump they've made. And I was actually playing around with it last night. If you have my previous live stream, go ahead and kind of check that out. It'd be kind of fun. But I was playing around with Codex Max, which was really, really great. Also, Opus 4.5 has been really interesting to play around with this. We're also going to talk a little bit more about context management and what does this really mean. Going over what do these agents actually kind of do in the background and why they're really important and how the landscapes continue to change over the last, let's say, 6 months, even less than that. I mean, Claude Code just came out earlier this year in February. It's completely changed the game. We've gone from Opus 3.7 to Opus 4, 4.1, and now 4.5. There's been so many changes. And if you're used to just putting in a single request, a lot of the times you'd have to kind of manage what they call the context and send specific things in to get better performance. And it always varied all across the board from Cursor to Claude Code to all these different agentic workflows. And I kind of want to revisit that today with you live. So this is just a whole hangout, ask me anything. I just, getting my studio setting up, kind of warming up my California vibes. If you're here with me, definitely lock in and drop the comments, just like Nick Daiko. AC says first. Yes, you're first. Hello from Perth as well. Hello to Christopher as well. He says, I can barely hear me. Oh, you know what? It's because I have the MacBook microphone. Oh, what a shame. You didn't get to hear my really great voice. Let me go ahead and see if I can fix that because I don't have Rodecaster set up correctly. And of course, I should have done that before. So you should probably be able to hear me now. You probably hear me now a lot better. I really appreciate everyone kind of stepping in. Cooking with the fam with Codex. Man, I totally fumbled that intro, but that's okay. I could probably re-record this again, right? It's live. So that's how you know this is live. We're hanging out live. I appreciate everyone to the feedback. You guys are super helpful here. So now I think you should be able to hear me with crystal clarity using this microphone here. If not, drop the comments right now if you let me know. So yeah, just like I was saying earlier, thank goodness I'm in the studio and actually the sound's a lot better probably with the treatment here. So we're going to go a little bit about context management, probably try to update some apps, and we're trying to hit that new cool milestone here if you haven't subscribed yet. So in Cursor, they've made a lot of updates. And if you haven't seen that, thank you for the much better sound thing. There's new models. If you go into models, there's tons of models. If I just type in Codex, GPT, or just let me type in 5.1. So you have 5.1. These are all the different models you can select. And the differences are going to be between the fast models and then just the regular ones. So if you don't see fast, whenever you see a fast request, it's going to cost you more to do that. So that's kind of what you're thinking here. And so when you're thinking about Codex, these are the Codex models. And then as far as Codex Max models, these are the Max specific ones. So there's going to be basically low. You can see how there's low here. And there's going to be medium, which you see medium here. And then medium is actually the default one. So if you just do Codex Max without any of the extra stuff, you're pretty much going to get the medium. There's high models, and then there's extra high. So this is kind of what we're thinking about. I only select the fast ones, and currently it's free until December 11th. So what this means is, we're going to be able to play around with it. It can kind of get a sense of how these things works. Big shout outs to the super sticker. Thank you so much, man. This is amazing. Sunglasses, perpetuity, fall onto the video game controllers. Oh, so do the sunglasses actually come onto my face? Oh man, I'd love to see that. That's kind of cool. I should have that stream up. That's really amazing that people are, oh, I see. This is the actual sticker that actually drops. So it's a really cool thing. Yeah. For those who don't know, let me see if I can kind of pull this up into the stream. You can kind of see these little cool sunglasses here. So I'm kind of monitoring the comments. So yeah, big shout outs for that. I really appreciate you dropping this in here. And so, so that's kind of that overview. Let's go ahead and see if I can kind of pull this up. Now that I have that pulled up in here, what I've been doing with my app, I have a couple of different apps that I have going on. So I'm going to go ahead and open my recent app. The other one is for Ray transcribes. And so with this app, what I'm basically doing, for those who don't know, if I go to my app over here, I just recently, dropped in the support for editing, a captions editing. So this actually just dropped last night. And I want to do a couple things. There are timestamps that I want to drop. I'll batch upload. And I also want to see if I can make some features over here with like changing different models and things. So if you go to my app right now, I've been able, like you can actually reprocess existing timestamps by selecting different models and doing this stuff. And I basically rewrote the entire backend. And so I want to see if I can leverage Cursor's ability using the Max model, maybe for planning and seeing kind of what that looks like. So one of my favorite views to do is just go into the agents view. So if I go to agents view, it changes things up a little bit. If I kind of go to the side here and they have these little toggle bars, I'm going to see if I can close all. So now we're kind of presented with this here. And then there's like this little side view for the chat. So I could say new agent, and this is what we have here. I'm going to get rid of this little side view, and I should basically be able to go minimize and do the chat here. I want to check for one more update because I'm currently on 2.1.49. And if I do check for updates, okay, there are no updates available. And so I use a couple MCPs. One is called Exa Code, and then the other one is called, Jesus, I'm blanking out right now. Ref.tools. And I actually have a video on that, and you should definitely go check it out on how to get this set up across all the different platforms. These are like my favorite research tools. So I'm going to go hit Shift Tab and go into planning mode. I'm going to change the model to Codex. I'm going to do Codex Max High. So extra high is an interesting reasoning effort to, I think the way that you would utilize this model is that it's going to do extended thinking, and you kind of maybe want to treat this more like a sniper gun. So if there's a performance bottleneck or something that you're chasing down in an app and you've kind of narrowed down where the functions and the scopes are for what specific bug you're having, you may want to turn on that extra high and say, hey, I want you to think through here. Here are all the relevant files. So you may want to start off the conversation in one chat where you're literally just kind of doing a discovery, saying, help me debug this error. And if you've done lots of tries with different models and different agents, once you have enough of that information, you want to tell that language model to say, okay, can you just write a report and write the relevant files and write the relevant things that we've done in our debugging flow and things that we've tried so far that haven't really worked, and go ahead and write that out to a report. And so once you have that language model write that report out to you, you're going to drop that report into here in Cursor, and you're going to basically do the Ultramax extra thinking here and set the 5.1 model. And so what that's going to do is going to prime the agent. It's going to give it all the file paths that are involved in here. It's probably going to give it some information about the functions, things you've done for the debugging flow. And then if you have any additional things, like for example, in that report, it shows like a data model or some type of thing that's happening in the UI or some timing issue, that's kind of where you want to like use that firing power. Once you use that extra, extra high, extra thinking here with GPT-5 Codex, it's really going to get really good at just kind of iterating and kind of saying, okay, basically what thinking models do, they explode these ways of utilizing the weights of the model. And so when it starts to go off into different forms of thinking, all those parts of the report are thinking traces that it can actually utilize and start to kind of go down those rabbit holes saying, okay, the user has already tried this, I'm not going to go down that route. So what you do is actually you save the models like intelligence capability, you kind of start to narrow the scope in here, and it kind of basically, it's like hiring someone to do some preliminary work, ahead of time. And so that's kind of the piecemeal you want to start. Sometimes you may not want to start with the extra high thing because it can add too much noise to your requests. And that's kind of the best way that I would utilize this type of model. So yeah, for planning tasks, you can probably start out with medium or low because you just need some quick reasoning and some quick secondary checks to make sure things are going okay. So in here, what I want to do is I want to see if I can compare a plan between like Opus 4.5 and then maybe also the Codex model as well. And just to see how the Max model does for planning. Cursor's planning tools are really incredible, and they've really improved a lot of their whole flow here. And so I think this is what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to say, I want to integrate, okay, I'm just going to yap this whole thing here. It's probably easier. I want to integrate the AI SDK because currently I have called directly to the language model using, I think, Convex, and then I think I'll give it the file. Yeah. Okay, so I want to do AISDK V5 because currently I called, one of the advantages of using the AISDK is the built-in error handling and multiple model selection. And currently throughout my code base, I'm going to have you dig through all the pieces of the code that I do on my backend with Convex for error handling and looking at how I select the model and different fallbacks for if there are errors. I would also like to integrate other language models for transcriptions besides the ones that I currently have. So you're going to have to look through the file there and kind of pick apart and see how we can organize this architecture so that I can start integrating new models. There are also some UI components as well to this because users will be selecting UI components and they will also be charged a flat amount for the minutes. So we have to make sure we have to account for all that stuff as well. I want you to do a comprehensive review here so that we make sure we don't miss anything. Okay. This is a pretty thing. And then since this also involves research, I want you to use Ref and use Exa Code MCPs to look up the AISDK as well as Convex best practices and our Convex rules here. And so, okay, so this use Ref for search and use Exa Code, Exa Code MCP. Okay, AISDK V5. Okay, Convex. Okay, okay, cool. So this looks pretty good. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to pop in. If I do 2x, can I do 2x? Use multiple models. Use multiple models. So in the use multiple models now, I'm able to select different models. So instead of Composer 1, I want Codex Max, just the regular Max. And then I'm curious to throw in Max. Let's just throw in Max High. I don't see, we have such a smaller context window and I don't want to flood it too much, but I'm just really curious to see. I'm really curious to see what low will do. So low fast, we have max, and then we have high. Yeah. So let's just try them all. See, Opus 4.5. Okay. And then we're going to do them in a work tree. I want to do them locally. Oh, I have to do them in a work tree. Okay. So, okay, 4.5. We're doing basically multiple models, Opus 4.5, Codex, and all of these here. Yeah, so we're basically doing low, and we're going to see if there's a difference here in the planning. It's a pretty unorganized request, and I'm hoping that this is basically going to kick off a new thing for us to let us see how this goes here. So let's go ahead and go. Okay. So this is currently running. Yay. Okay, so the user, it's pretty much off to the races now. And I think it's creating a work tree. So for those who aren't familiar, the work tree is basically going to create a really isolated section for the code to execute and run. And so that way it doesn't kind of mess up our whole branch structure and everything like that. So we're currently in plan mode. It's not going to write any changes to our app, which is nice. So now it's working in an isolated environment and doing these types of calls. So there's already some tasks completed from the other models. It moves really, really fast. So what does it say here? It's asking some additional questions. So that's cool. Yeah, Exa definitely is fire. Also, for those who don't know, there's like a 12 days of Christmas thing. I dropped it in my Discord, or no, 24 days, but Nick Diaco definitely hooked it up. So let me see if I can find that in a bit after I go through the plan. And so if you stay tuned, I'm going to drop that link so that you can get that $50 of Exa credit. You don't need it because Exa code is currently free, but Exa has research APIs and they have a bunch of other rich stuff that are really helpful if you want to use them in your apps. And I would definitely check that out. So yeah. Have you cooked with any local AI models? Just built a new rig. So this is what I want to do more of. There's also a thing that I use, and I'm buddies with the guys at EXO Labs. So EXO Labs basically allows you to connect multiple Macs together. Also works with PCs. Also works with, it's open source as well. And you can actually share inference. So everyone can just pull up at a cafe and load one large language model on all the machines, and then just everyone can basically start using inference, which is insane. But yeah, I want to do more of that, which would be really crazy. So let's see what questions to ask. Which other providers do you want to prioritize first? I think Google Gemini, text to speech. I think for the other provider, I'd like to prioritize DeepGram. Okay. For the flat per minute pricing, do we already have a specific rate rounding rule? We already have a rate. Yeah. In our code docs, use it. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and continue, I think. Is that how that works? I maybe have to do this. Okay, cool. All right, man, these planning tasks are really fast. Yeah, also Cursor moves really, really fast. Let me just kind of give you a quick rundown on their blog here. So in the blog post, what they're saying is one of the sections they talk about is basically building a robust agent harness. And in here, the way that these models are trained is in the Codex model specifically, it likes to use the shell. And so that's how you see these terminal bench scores and everything. It makes sense because it's a language model and it knows how to write language and typically knows how to write shell commands. So that's different than giving it like a full, like actual screenshot of an IDE and having it click buttons. And so whenever you have something that's, I could call like, it's like almost ergonomic with the model, right? The language, it can write language in, language out, and then utilize the intelligence of the model. That's how it performs really well. The problem is, especially with Cursor, is like they're using an IDE and they have their own tools that are sitting inside of it. So whenever you fork VS Code, you can actually build tooling, to read the file system, and everything's kind of embedded and sitting into there. And you have this like native approach to managing code. And what Cursor has done is that they've, used machine learning techniques and everything to understand what you're doing, what you're going to be doing next. And you've probably seen some of those improvements when people are tabbing to code, and even with the composer model. But they've done that pretty much all over the system. So whenever you have something like Codex that's really good at terminal commands, but not really good at other stuff, they've been able to kind of work with the OpenAI team and make these like tool actions. And so with these tools, they say, instead of using grep or these other things, they just tell the language model to prefer Cursor's tools. And in the actual prompts and stuff now, they have it all fine-tuned that says, like, if the tool exists for an action, prefer to use the tool instead of a shell command. So it'll say read file over cat. And so what happens is it's much easier to use the Cursor tool to read a file. And we'll see this sometimes in Cursor's thinking, where it's going to say, okay, I'm going to read this tool here, and this is kind of what this would look like. And so if we look at like when it's going to read files here or doing certain things, if we go like explored files, see this is basically a tool call that it's done to read a specific file. And Cursor already has that. It just pulls all the highlighted stuff is this file that it read. So it read this entirely in one pretty much go here, along with other files too. So that's kind of how this like tool call works. So it does it once, twice. It actually looked at my Cursor rules file and selected these things, and this here as well. And so because it's built into their IDE, they're able to read through a lot of this a lot faster. And this actually went to the right files of where things are located in my actual app, which I find really amazing. And if you're a developer, you would normally have to do this by hand and read through this. And so their tool set is basically, or in essence, mimicking a developer. And so they're able to do this much more efficiently than going through and running tools, because there's a lot of difference. Windows users have a lot of problems when they're running these types of command line tools because the language models haven't really optimized for them. So they're used to the shell environments, and they're used to Linux, and they're used to running stuff on a Mac. And those types of environments. And slowly they've been tuning the models to work better just on Windows straight out. And so you'll actually notice a difference between the machines that you use. So not all command lines are equal. They're starting to converge now, but in the last 6 months, everything has kind of changed. So that's kind of FYI. So that's a big background for that. So that's the tool calls, and that's a little bit of background of some of that sauce that Cursor has been doing to tune not only these models, but it also works for other models too, whether it's Opus and other stuff like that. So that's really great. Also combined with MCPs in here, they've made tons of improvements now, which I find pretty amazing. So it's reading the documentation. Opus is now understanding kind of what I need to do, and now it's going to ask me some more questions. So the difference between the Codex Max one that we just ran in the medium mode is that it basically just started asking initial questions before it started to do anything. And then the Opus model went to go and read files first. It says, I'll conduct a comprehensive review of the integration. So it explored the 4 files that are actually relevant to my request. And then I only gave it 1 file, but based off that, it found some other ones. It used the Exa MCP to go grab some more information, and then use Ref to go search for specific things. And so in this Ref search, it basically does a token efficient search. It tries to come back with a couple thousand tokens and see if they can rank any documentation that is relevant. And then it'll go back and tell it to go read a specific URL based off of the data it got back. So this type of thing doesn't really like nuke your context window as much as other MCPs that I've used. And this is now searching documentation in these secondary rounds. And so that's kind of what it's doing now. So now Opus 5 compared to GPT 5.1, we can already see at the very beginning, Opus 4.5 is already coming in with that like context already primed, saying, I have knowledge of your code base and the relevant files. I have some documentation about this new Vercel AISDK V5 thing because I've already read the documentation. And then now let me just go ahead and ask you some questions. So I want to ask you this question. If you're ever working with a software engineer and you just tell them this, like the request, you're going to want to go with the engineer just straight out the bat, who's already kind of like, I don't know what this SDK V5 thing is. Let me just go ahead and look this up just so I understand what's going on. And then the types of questions you're going to ask to follow on after that tend to be a lot more smarter. This is my bias right now, but this is kind of why I wanted to compare these two live so I can show you the differences on these two models and like which one do you prefer for planning. So drop it in the comments, which one do you prefer for planning? I'm still kind of catching up to the comments right now, to be honest. I'm a little bit behind. So appreciate all the love right now. Everyone say, I love your channel. Thinking the same way, they seem very similar. I'm curious, you always recommend Ref and Exa. Why both? My understanding is that Ref and Exa achieves the same thing, and MCPs. So this is a really good question because I've talked about both of these. So the reason why I use Ref for search is because it does this sort of waterfall like searching type of thing. So whenever you do a search like on Google, you're basically shotgun blasting everything and having the bring it back to you. And with Ref, what you do is it sends out like a request saying, hey, I want to look up the AISDK, give me all the relevant stuff. So it does that in a very token efficient manner. So it doesn't need a lot of tokens to go search for this stuff. And so the tooling itself will go and come back and then bring back a list. So that's only like, I don't know, 100 tokens, a couple hundred tokens or something like that. And then from there, the language model is going to say, okay, no, this is the document I want, these two. Go and get those. And then it could tell Exa code to go get them, or it can go, once it reads the documentation from Ref, if it already has it in its documentation set, it can ask Exa code to say, can you go look up this GitHub repo and see who else has implemented? And so Exa, I would say like Exa code has a big cache of the internet. The Exa code also has like Discord server access. So they go in Discord servers. I've seen Exa code go into like Discord servers and grab questions and responses from people who said like, yes, I've tried this and it doesn't work. And it'll actually put that back into the response, which is absolutely killer. It's so insane how much Exa has collected data all over the internet. And low key, I think they're like the next Google for AI, to be honest. Like that's kind of where I'm headed with this. So combining the two, I find to be much more token efficient. And to me, it's like almost unbeatable as far as like reliability, like over and over and over again. So, I mean, try it out. I think ref.tools gives you a bunch of credit, like 100 credits or something for free, which is more than enough for like a whole day of coding. And you'll see what the differences are. And Exa code is free right now. So definitely go try that out too. So yeah, that's what's up. Yeah. So yeah, I got to catch up a little bit more to the comments, but I'm curious if you guys have been planning, do you have a specific model you prefer to go with, and what's been working for you and what's not? So yeah, that's what's up. So let's see. Let's see what's going on. All right. So which additional transcription providers would you like to integrate besides Grok? AISDK supports OpenAI, 11 Labs, Assembly AI. Oh, I like DeepGram. Whoops. I think there's a new model from, can we do both? Oh, this is a weird thing. I thought this was multiple choice. Which additional, oh, this is a good bug. I'm going to send this to the Cursor team because it should be able to handle something like this where we have like multiple providers on the board. Okay. Okay, fallback strategy. Do you want providers model fallback within the same provider? Let's do provider fallback. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll try both, I guess. Continue. This is a cool question here. Okay, now I have a clear picture. Let me check the current JSON packages. So now it's just doing a JSON package comparison here. This is cool. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and catch up with this plan here. So now it's come up with the plan, and this is a Codex medium model. And let's just go ahead and view the plan. So It seems really sparse, to be honest. I don't really, the current audit flow and constraints. So basically, there's a transcription orchestration, there's retry logic and the billing fields, and then it check the model selectors, which are here to understand the current params passed by Convex. And so what's going to do is add to the provider registry, create a shared model, replace Grok to fetch the AISDK adapter, wire the backend orchestration. Okay, that's cool. That's a pretty big feature here. All right, so let's go ahead and check the other plans as well and check those models. So let's see. So we have Codex Max low fast. So this is the much faster one, and it didn't read any files. All it did was just kind of for the flat. So to me, it tells me that there's a different way of prompting the Codex Max models, and there's a whole actual prompting guide. So let's see if we can find it here. So Codex, Open AI Codex 5.1. Wait, OpenAI GPT-5, GPT 5.1 Codex Max prompting guide. So yeah, okay, here we go. Let's see. I mean, clearly there's a very different way of prompting. So I was just kind of looking this up here. So it basically said, let's just read it together. I mean, this is kind of first. So obviously key improvements is faster and more token efficient. So it matches the Codex performance on Sweetbench, higher intelligence. So Codex is very capable work for hours. So you can use high or X high reasoning for your effort. First class compaction support. That's interesting. So multi-hour reasoning without hitting context limits. This is insane. And the model's much better in PowerShell in Windows environments. This is kind of what we're talking about for the Windows stuff and how they're tuning here. Okay. So this is about, okay, so prompting, here we go. So the prompt, recommended starter prompts. So this is people who are building their own AI agents. So if you're building your own AI agents, like let's just say you're building your own version of Open Code or your own version of Cursor, this is probably the prompt that you would use to start. But reading this is going to help us understand how their prompting stuff is already generalized and see how they basically organize their information here. So this is interesting. So this is how they call out their prompts. But as you can see, it's basically Markdown with list structure. And then the list structure has lists within lists. And so if we have our requests and we organize it in this fashion, I bet you that same request will actually be much better this way. So let me just go ahead and see if I can throw the same request into that here. So I'm going to make a new chat. Can I make a new chat? Let me get out of the editor. I'm going to go and do a new chat. I'll use Opus 4.5 to write this prompt. So use Ref or use Exa code to review this URL. And I want you to use the prompting guide to write, let's see, to write. Let me make this bigger too. Okay, guide to write a new markdown file. Okay. For a new markdown file for our prompt. Here is the original prompt that needs to be reworked using the Codex Max prompting guide. So what I'm going to do is prompt needs Codex _max. So I put these brackets in there so that it kind of delineates them. And I'm just curious to see how it's going to return our response in this new way. And we're going to use Opus because Opus is so damn good. And I'm going to send this request here. And I'm also curious to see what the web does. So I'm going to do Claude. And so, yeah, I think I have Exa set up on my thing, or use Ref. Use Ref tools for the web. Okay. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. We're going to see who does, and then we do extended thinking. I'm just curious to see what Cursor will do with this request, and also curious to see what Claude AI, the web will do with this request as well. Yeah, dude, I'm really just curious now. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. We just crossed the 19K subs. Let's go. This is so cool. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I appreciate everyone kind of tuning in live here. So now we're seeing that it fetched excellent. I reviewed Codex Max prompting guide. Let me create a structured prompt. So this is a really great prompt. Damn. I'm curious to give this prompt now to GPT-5, Pro, Max, High and stuff, and just let it super cook on this, because it took all that stuff I yapped into a much more structured manner. It's weird that I have to do this, but I'm really curious to see, because it's very clear that my basic instructions using the Opus model came back with a much more comprehensive review, right, to begin with. And then my Codex Max stuff just came back with it didn't even search any files or do anything like that. And it's just the way that these models behave, right? The way that these models behave will start to act a lot differently and behave differently, compared to the two. So I'm just curious to see if this is even going to make a difference for us. And that's kind of why I want to do this. So here we are. This is a complete breakdown of the whole thing. Damn. Yo, Opus can write some prompts, bro. This is crazy. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, Codex Max for the win. For sure. Yeah. Oh, Mike, you use basically MCP gateway with Exa, Ref, another MCP server to leverage. Okay, yeah, that's what's up. Damn. Yeah, you're cooking, bro. All right, so what do we have here? So we have the context is the current state, direct language models calls here, target state, and then the stack. I love the way that it breaks down this prompt format for us. This is really cool. Okay. Locate all files. Wow, this is very procedure based, based off that research phase. Use ref documentation and ref read URL together. Wow. This is really good. Architecture. Produce a migration architecture that addresses. I'm not going to lie. This plan is fire. Maintain type safety. Avoid. This is good. Yo, okay, let's see. Okay, now I want to see how good GPT-5 is at this task. If this is going to be ridiculous, I'm going to create a new chat. I swear, let's just do a whole new plan mode again. I'm just going to do the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to do back to plan mode, shift tab. We're going to paste this new prompt in. We have AISDK integration task. This is a beautiful plan. And we're going to give it to everyone again. I'm really curious. So here we got plan mode. We're going to use multiple models. I love this thing. It already has my previous model selected. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to pop up another work tree. Let's cook. Let's cook. By the way, huge shout out to the Cursor team. They were able to give me some credits, which is really awesome, so that I can play around with a lot more of these features live. And so with that type of thing, it's really, really cool to just be able to just let this thing rip. Without kind of worrying about things. So I've been in contact with the Cursor team pretty much forever, for those who don't know. Back from the early days when they were basically 10 people or less than that, I went to their office. And, I've been giving them lots of feedback all throughout this process of using their stuff. And so as a person who's always testing their software, they've said, hey, I think there was this informal early access type of thing where people got early access who really tested their features a lot and gave them feedback. You get a build every night or whenever they make software. They pretty much every couple minutes, they're always dropping a new version or something like that. But sometimes that can be very unstable, and it makes it hard for me to live stream if I'm using an unstable version of the build. So these days now, I pretty much just stick to the early access builds. And so if you have the Ultra plan, you get the same type of treatment. So in the Ultra plan, you can actually, damn, hold up. Yo, this thing is cooking. What is this plan, bro? Opus is a bad mother. Oh my goodness. What is this? Do you see the difference between me yapping and then me telling Opus to yap for me? I could just let it go by itself. It'll figure out the plan. Oh my goodness. Bruh, look at this comprehensive plan. What is this? Bruh. Oh, this is, oh my God. Did you all see just what happened right now? For those who are just tuning in right now, if you're just tuning in, you're witnessing a masterclass in how to prompt without being a prompt engineer. So in order for you to achieve this outcome, you just give it the OpenAI GPT-5 Codex Max prompting guide playbook and say, yo, this is my prompt. This is how you cook with this. And this is how we did it, ladies and gentlemen. So just let me just remap that whole thing because there's people joining in. My face is still on the floor. All right, so recap. I told it to review this prompting guide for the OpenAI cookbook, right? The GPT-5. Let me just drop this in the chat too because I know people have been wanting this right now. And I want you to code with me live. So just let me know how this goes. I'm really curious to see what you see. So you'll see that link below. That's what you're going to see. Just copy and paste that, put it up in here. I want you to use the prompting guide to write a new markdown file for our prompt. Here's the original prompt that needs to be reworked using the Codex Max prompting guide. That's all you have to do. This is all we need to do here. And the rest is just going to be you yapping what you want to do with your features. So what I do is I add these brackets here. This is these special XML tags. So the way XML tags work is you have an open angle and closed angle, and then you need to make sure you close the brackets at the end. Otherwise, you're going to mess this whole thing up. And the name needs to match exactly. So you just put these little spaces there. And so these are very special in a couple different ways for the language model. And I want to make sure you get this right. Whatever you type in here is going to give extra context to the model. So if you tell it needs context max, or if you write convex underscore logs, that's going to tell the model, oh, these are convex logs. Let me go ahead. And whenever it needs to come back and reference them, it will always know in its latent space to go to that specific section and grab specific things in this space. So that's kind of almost like a tooltip to help you out there. And make sure you do that. You use slash needs convex at the end. That's how you close out this tag. And that's how it knows everything in here, no matter what type of code and specific things you're doing, is good. So that's the way you do it here. Yap in your prompt exactly the way I did, right? Very unstructured. I had a lot of stuff that I want to do. I do this all the time. That's just what I do. It goes, does the research for you. Opus 4.5 is a beast. I make sure you turn on that extended thinking, by the way. Extended thinking is turned on, right? And make sure web use is on. So it basically does a rewrite of that entire prompt in Markdown. Go ahead and hit copy. Once you hit copy, you put this thing up into Cursor in plan mode and just let it rip. Let it rip. You can put it back into Opus 4.5 as the model for planning, and then you're seeing what it does. It does absolute magic. The plans are night and day from what the first one did to what my plan did. Like, this is gorgeous. I'm blown away. Yeah, like it has a lot of very specific things in here. So, right. So now because it's inside of Cursor, it's reading those files and doing the code. So let's just see what it did here. I'm just going to go back into this thing and I'm going to see exactly what specific, let me just kind of break down the tool calls. You see it actually read more files. It even read the agent's MD stuff that's related to this. It did additional thinking step before it moved to the next thing. Now it has a good understanding. Let me continue to, and then it read more files. So the difference between our first request and the one that Opus wrote is that it read files 2 different times and after it gathered more context. That step is extremely powerful and makes your language models that much more intelligent. Damn, bro, this is crazy. This is really good. And you see how now it read the actual building files instead of hallucinating, thinking like, oh yeah, I'll get to them. It's like, nah, let me read them right now, bro. And let me make sure your plan is legit before we move forward, right? After it did that, it thought 21 more seconds. Amazing. So let's go ahead and see what this thinking trace did here. So it says, now that I have a comprehensive review, I should now research the AI V5 documentation. So now that it understands what my code base does, it goes and searches the documentation. So there's a planning document here for this. There's LLM sites that are affected and some of the other components that we've done earlier because I already had some stuff here. And now it's going to actually look up the stuff on the web. So this now has much more intelligence and much more targeted things. And it's now just sending its intelligence in all these different directions. It explores the files, and after it does its search here, it now checks to see my implementation in my code. Amazing. This is really beautiful. And that's why these agents are constantly improving, but you're able to see how like a model like Opus with its tool calling can continue to kind of go down these rabbit holes. But prompting is very key, and having a language model write the prompt for you is actually very, very powerful. But it needs a really good example. So that prompting guide that we gave it from OpenAI GPT-5 Max, works extremely well here. And so that's kind of the sauce here. And that's how we're kind of blown away from that plan. I want to take a look at this Codex Max one here and see what this plan came up with here, because this should be pretty good here. So if I open plan in editor, so with the Codex Max one, this is just the medium mode. It came back and wasn't as detailed as the Opus one, right? It still has the similar thing where it says like, here's some steps. And then I think, is it even asking us any more questions? It just did a bunch of reads. Yeah, okay. So it likes to do this in this way. It just does, it's like plain old steps. Like maybe it's much more token efficient. And it's gonna, so what Opus did was it wrote out a summary and all these types of things in the plan, where in GPT-5, it's like, I'm gonna have that as a to-do list item. And then after that, it's gonna do these types of things after the fact. That's really interesting. So that's the difference between the Opus 4.5 one and the GPT 5.1 for Codex Max. Obviously, this is a pretty massive feature when we're talking about rewriting basically a fetch call to come back, because there's a lot of different moving pieces. And as you can see, there's a billing piece, there's a UI piece, there's all these different pieces of the app that are touched. I know transcriptions look really easy, but it's actually underneath the hood. Once you start to build an app that a bunch of users are going to really depend on and rely on, there are all these extra details that you want to get right. Because if you mess up one of them, you can overbill. If you mess up another thing, you maybe just don't have the quality stuff that you have come back. So getting these pieces are really important, and you have to trust your models as they move through these spaces. And this is kind of what I'm trying to do live, right? This is what we're trying to figure out together. Let's go ahead and take a look at this other plan. I think this other plan here is the low fast one. So the low fast one, I think, also ripped through the whole thing and wasn't as detailed, because what it does is going to save those detailed steps for later on in the tool calling. So it's going to say, when we proceed with the plan, we're actually going to do all the stuff that you're requesting, which is, do those specific steps. Or Opus already did that for us. It did that research in the tool calls super fast, pretty much in the same time it took these other ones to do. So, so yeah, let's go ahead and review this other one. It's for the high fast one. I'm just really curious. So in high fast, it, took a look at a bunch of files, right? And did a bunch of stuff, open grept in NMW or something like that. Okay, this is interesting. And let's review these plans. So yeah, I don't know. Like, which plan would you go with if you're looking at this? Would you choose the Opus one? Would you choose GPT-5? I'm just drop them in the comments below. I'm really curious what you're thinking. I mean, I really appreciate everyone who's asking questions. Too many options, too many choices. It drives everyone nuts. I'm not really sure what that is. Now try Android. Oh yeah, let me try this in Droid real quick. Terminal. That's a really good question. So I'm gonna pull up Droid right here real quick. CD workspace, yes, Droid, and let's go ahead and see if I can pull this up real quick. So now that I have Droid pulled up, let's see. I'm really curious. Okay, so Droid. Okay. So what I want to do is go to spec mode. Okay, and then we currently have /model. And we're going to select Codex Max, and we're going to go with high, which is the current one. Let's just do medium or high. I'll just do high. Okay. Yeah, let's do high. I'm curious to see how the Codex Max one does. I'll do two of them as well. So I'll do Opus, Droid, and I'm going to do model, and I'm going to do Opus 4.5. Damn, it's 2x now? Shoot. They've increased the price. Oh, okay. So it used to just be a 1x for like a period of time, but now it's 2x. All right, whatever. Let it rip. Okay. So let's go ahead and get this prompt from Claude and just copy and paste this one and see what it does. So we're going to paste this one in here and to the Opus part. So this one's Opus. Oh, you know what I'm going to use? I'm going to use Ghostly or Ghosty terminal. So Ghosty terminal. I'm going to open up a new one. Can I open up a new window? Let's see. Okay, let's see if I can open a new tab. Here we go. So I started using Ghosty, and I'm really liking this terminal a lot because of its ability to, the way that it writes stuff to the screen. And a huge shout out to Eric Provonche. We were talking about that in our rate limited podcast, and he kind of brought this up. So, okay, cool. LS, yes, great. Okay, I'm in the right place. Droid. So we're going to do two different ones. We're going to do one with Opus /model. Okay, so there's a promotional pricing has ended. So the model now uses a 2x multiplier. Dang. Okay. Yeah, that's so sad. But it's okay. Whatever. Okay, Opus 4.5. And then if I do Command 2, now I can go to the second tab. Yo, that's cool. Slash model, and then I can go to Codex Max high. Okay, perfect. So we're going to get this prompt here that we made, and we're going to pop this into Droid and see what spec mode does. So spec mode with Opus 5. Let's go ahead and put that in here. This is going to do its thing, and then we're going to do the same thing for Codex Max high. And see what that does there too. And I'm going to just do Droid. I'm going to just do medium. I'm just curious. Slash model. And we're going to do Codex Max medium. So I'll do medium here for number 2. And then high will be here. And then we'll do Droid Opus 4.5 over here. So this is what Droid's going to do. D to dismiss. Okay. Okay. So we're going to see what it does and kind of see what the differences are. Because I have always preferred the plan modes inside of Cursor because of how comprehensive they are, especially with the Opus model. Because the Opus model, you can kind of see here. Let's just take a look at this plan. It's usually really, really good. So right here. I mean, it went to work. It went to work for me. When these models go to work for you, it goes to work. It's like, ooh. Like it, I mean, look at it, even saw the error handling stuff with Opus. Come on, this is so good. Oh, and the billing integration, the UI, like so good. Here's the target architectures. The new structure will be here. These are like the deprecated, keep for the rollback. Oh, this is, damn, it's so good. AISDK integration. So there's like a unit up. There's now a new transcribe interface. And there's like built-in types that are already built in and error handling. And provider options for Grok. These are amazing, right? And then here's the Convex provider shared interfaces. So this is going to create these interfaces for these things. Great. Oh man, this is too good. Provider registry. So now we provide Google provider registry. This is what we're going to use for our fallbacks. So if we have a fallback, now we can just kind of give it a list because I currently have this for my current fallback. So I have OpenAI and so forth. This is a really cool convention. Okay, so let's see what Droid is doing. So Droid come back and says, okay, yes, allow for the MCPs. Okay, command 2, okay, command 1. So command 1, 2, and 3. So command 1 is Opus, command 2 is our Codex Max medium, and then command 3 is Codex Max high. And so Ghosty, G-O-S-T-T-Y, I think. Yeah, ghosty.org. It sounds weird. Let me put this into the chat because I know people are thinking about like this terminal. And I recently got put onto this and I have been liking it a lot. And I keep forgetting to open it, but I definitely want to do this more. So yeah. It's super, super fast. It's free. And yeah, start using it today. It's really cool. Ghosty's awesome. All right, cool. So what do we have here? Droid spec mode. So Droid is doing its own tasks here. So review the design architecture, research the AISDK V5 surface, identify the UI model selection, locate the billing, and then propose provider abstraction, and then draft a phased migration rollback plan, and then outline code scaffolding. So this is with the Codex medium plan. This is really interesting because Droid is really kind of in this like spec / planning mode, reading all the files just like the way the Cursor was doing. It's reading all the documentation. So I wasn't like, I think Cursor did do the same thing, but I'm curious to see what it actually comes back with. Oh, wow. The plan's already done. Okay. So this is similar to what we got in Cursor, right? It says LLM call sites, error handling, model mapping, job orchestration, billing hooks, guidelines. So I think what the plan differences are is that in the Cursor plan mode for GPT-5 Codex Max, it was basically waiting for it to proceed for the next step to do the next, to do like the audit summary, where in Droid, it chose to do it there. And for whatever reason, there must be some instructions that are in there for maybe that type of task, because that probably involves, running some type of commands on the device, but like finish mapping LLM touch points, because this actually didn't even finish it. Define a provider registry types, implement the AISDK, transcribe with fallbacks, and then route. So like these two are still research tasks that are still in its thing here, and is asking us to build instead of actually going to research it, right? So that's interesting. It just did a quick high level scan of like, here's kind of where you're kind of messing with, right? And that's basically, this is the low fast. And this is the medium model, kind of did the same thing, right? An audit of the same thing. So it didn't really fully audit everything like we asked it to. And then the high fasting, it's still asking the same thing. So all three models inside of Cursor didn't proceed with the audit action. But in Opus, it actually did that. And then now it's actually ready to start to do the implementation plan. So I don't know what is in the instruction set. There might be some conflicting instructions, and I'm really curious why that is. And I'll definitely be giving that feedback to the Cursor team because I found that really strange. Like, why did all the Codex models not continue with that audit stuff, which is what we're in the instructions, but the Opus model totally did. So like the Codex ones are like, hey, we're not going to do that yet. That's going to be something we do later on, right? And we got enough to go here. So as far as like token usage, the high one used about 111,000 tokens and about used 40% of the context window. And the low one used 71,000 tokens for context, if you're trying to think about this. And then the medium one basically used about 113. So that's interesting that the medium one actually used more than the high fast. And it could just be a difference in terms of what the tool calls did for reading documentation for these models. So that's an interesting comparison. I'm glad we kind of are doing this. So back to the GPT-5 Codex Medium, Codex Max Medium model inside of Droid spec mode, we see that it's basically has done a lot of that research already. So the audit of the current state shows this, and then here's the target architecture that it already has this plan mode. This is using the GPT-5 model, and then the phase migration, scaffolding, a new runner, dual wiring paths, and then also the validation checks as well. And so here's the key scaffolding stubs. This is crazy. It already kind of gives us some stubs for these different components here. So, okay. So keep the grok untouched until cutover, and then assume new vars for others will be added. And then if you approve, we'll continue this action. So that's pretty cool. So I guess if we're comparing the two right now, so the Droid plan versus the Cursor plan, more specifically for the GPT 5.1 Codex Max media model, it's a mouthful. In Cursor, all of the Codex models, the Codex Max models with 5.1 did not want to do that audit flow of reading the files. That was actually going to be part of the post-plan phase. The plan phase was like, hey, we have a plan for this, we're going to do it. And it kind of had an idea of what files to touch. I found that really strange because the Opus model inside of Cursor actually did that audit already and is part of its importance context gathering. And that was kind of one of the key differences between the same interface of IDE of Cursor, right? Using Opus 4.5 versus GPT 5.1 Codex Max. Obviously, these things will change over time, but as of right now, December 6th at 9:54 a.m. California time, this is the way that the agent's currently behaving in this version of the software of Cursor. They're going to continue to fine-tune these over time. So just a FYI. So the other question is, well, how does this actually behave in Droid? And what is the difference between what Droid spec mode is doing? So Droid spec mode, using the Codex 5.1 GPT-5, so using the OpenAI GPT 5.1 Codex Max Medium model. This is such a mouthful. Okay. In spec mode, inside of Droid, giving it the same exact prompt, by the way, actually ended up doing that audit, which is what none of what Cursor's apps did for that specific model. So there is a difference in the instruction set that's built into Cursor that specifically says, hey, that's the step that's reserved outside of planning. So that's interesting. And for me, from what I've seen in Opus and what I'm seeing in Droid is that extra step to go and actually audit the files, pull that into the context window, do some additional thinking steps, and then try to build a better spec or plan for your code is, for me, I feel like is a very important step because then it gets more grounding in terms of what actual files the agents should touch. And so there's a couple different steps to this because planning is probably where you should be spending a lot more time if you're not really going to be writing a lot of the code. It's true even if you are actually writing the code because you do want to be very surgical in some of these ways, and especially if your app is already in production touching lots of things. If this is more of like, I would say, an advanced prompting, advanced planning techniques that most people really aren't talking about because it requires a lot of diligence and a lot of really attention to detail that you should be paying attention to. And just because you receive a plan and you start doing some implementations doesn't mean you have to stick with all the code that's been committed. You can, because you have everything in a feature branch, you should always throw that out and try again. Maybe try a different path, or take things that you've learned and then reapply it and generate a new plan. So part of even yapping your thing into an Opus 4.5, which is what we did with Anthropic's model here, is the ability to come back to this later on and say, okay, we've learned all these things. We learned that the fallback mechanism should be tightened up by this, or this is a new feature in the AISDK that we didn't know existed. Can we now generate a new plan given all these things we have learned? Pop that in here. It's going to generate an even better prompt, and it's going to be much more precise. And that second time that you run it with a completely fresh branch and everything, the model will seem like it's just super smart and gets everything done. But you've taken all this accumulation of knowledge, all of the areas where to point it to, and now passing that back into the models. And it, like, whether you're actually writing the code or you're actually prompting the AI to write the code, they're very similar steps, right? Don't get me wrong on this type of thing. There's other people who've also worked, like, I mean, I used to be an engineer at Apple, so I worked really closely with a lot of like developers and different people who are writing code, QA engineers, designers. And so everyone has a way of the way the system works. But it doesn't really work until everything is actually in the software being built. And so there's a lot of assumptions made about any type of thing. And whenever you pick up the phone and start actually using the software, you'll start to learn very, very quickly what things you need to fix and what are the things that you made assumptions were that weren't really true. That's just the process of software development. So don't let these people's hot takes about AI generating bad code or slop or anything kind of slow you down. You're basically on this process of being a software engineer and wanting to use this software to keep improving. Not only do you improve yourself, but you continue to improve everything else. And that's just kind of what we roll with here. So this is what we're doing live every single day. No, I try to do this at least on the weekends. I'm trying to do more often here. I'm going to try to just pop in like this, literally sort of unplanned, but also kind of ask me anything style. You can kind of sit down with me as I think through these processes, kind of show you some prompting things that I come up with, and then how I'm adapting these things on the fly. So if you're interested in this, definitely hit that subscribe button. You know, Ray Fernando 1337. I'm also on X. I'm also on YouTube quite a bit, and this is where we're going to hang out. So this is what you're doing. You know, do all these types of things. Prompt templating in advance is the way. 100%, 1000%, bro. Exactly. I appreciate that. Cheers from Argentina. This is really, really cool. I'm not a dev. I worked in IT for 15 years. I have an AMD GPU. I'll have to get back to that comment. I want to definitely check that out. Ray's right. AI gives you a good starting point. Vibe coded or not, you start with it and grind into shape. Exactly. This is just the process of making software, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You don't have to. Okay, I'm so tired of people freaking gatekeeping so much because they don't feel it's their specific way of making software. And like, that's how you know, like, you don't need to roll with them. You need to roll with people who want to build with us. And if you're watching this channel right now on this stream, you're one of them. You're someone who's super curious about building software. It doesn't matter whether you know how to code or not. It's just a process about building. You're curious, just go. Like, don't let anything slow you down. And like, there's a lot of people that will promise certain things and do certain stuff. At the end of the day, you just have to put those reps in. And there's something that I want to speak about. I feel like it's more specific to AI coding, right? There's this thought that people are saying where I think I read this article from Lee Robinson from Cursor, and he said there's a couple of things that he's scared of as a software engineer because he's a craftsman. He spent so much time writing code, and there's people with decades of experience. And it is really real where if you spend too much time just using AI and not writing the code, because you're not exercising that logic part of the brain of keeping everything in your head, where everything is at, component structures and system level things, you sort of start to lose sight a little bit of how the system is actually working. And then as far as being a craftsperson, then you kind of maybe lose touch a little bit. So the way I think about it are, what are other people in other professions happen when when automated tooling started to show up in their landscape, right? You know, a woodworker has these new tools. And so like some of the manual process they were doing, you know, are still there. But like maybe someone who's making swords in Japan, right? They have to do this process where they have to literally hit this like piece of metal over and over and over again. And it gets stronger and stronger over thousands of hours of time. And so now you have this really amazing sword. there's no way to really automate that, right? So it's all handmade. And so there are like those types of concerns where like if you still do something handmade, it could still be really amazing. And if you are an engineer and you really know the internals of certain things, you can really kind of go really, really crazy. But that comes with like decades of experience. And I feel like that's very real for people who have lots of experience. And I've noticed that myself. If I use too much AI, I also notice that I lose track of that specific type of thing. But I was thinking back to my younger days of when I first got started in software engineering, and some of the ways I got into the door was literally through playing around with the software and finding bugs. So like being QA or whatever like that. As you go into the engineering orgs, those types of skills are extremely valuable. And as a software engineer, you still have to eventually learn how to be a really good QA engineer, how to be a really good designer, how to be a good project manager. You pick up all these different skill sets being in the industry. And so as a person who started to like maybe vibe code, you're probably starting to see like this layout, and everyone's going to share their opinion on you. But really what you have to take with you is like, your passion of like, I want to get these ideas. I want to bring them into life. Maybe I might not know a lot about project management, or maybe I might not know about like designing, but I'm going to go find some friends who are really good at that, and then maybe share some back and forth. And that's kind of what we're trying to do today. I actually want to start this movement where I want to meet up with you. So if you want to let me know what specific town you're from, because I want to start to have these little vibe meetups. If you go to StartMy.ai, throw your name and email here, because I'm going to run these experimental workshops, not only online, but I'm also going to do them in person. So StartMy.ai, drop your email here. This is going to be really important for us to kind of gather together, because there's going to be people from all walks of life, all sets of experiences doing different types of things. And all I want to do is just throw these meetups where we just come hang out together. So that's what we want to do. I feel like the future is going to be not only doing stuff online, but also building with each other live and sharing live, because that's how I learn. I learn a lot faster if I talk to other people and I say, hey, what are you working on today? Or I want to learn more about design, and I see someone who's really good at design. They just share like what I'm sharing with my engineering expertise, right? Like I want to kind of get that going. And that's I think that's the way that we're going to be able to kind of share together and grow together. So that's kind of like my big take there, as far as like, people are confused sometimes about like just vibe coding in general, or you may like, I know I felt shameful for like coding live and just not really like going really into the code, especially with a person with my background and experience. But I really realized at the end of the day, do you get stuff done and ship software? It doesn't matter how you do it. And at the end of the day, like you're going to want to, like be with others who are doing the same thing. Like how crazy is it? Okay. How crazy would it be if 5 years from now or 10 years from now, like you gave up on your dreams because some person on Twitter said, oh, like, vibe code is slop, and like there's some influencer with like 500,000 followers, and like you took their advice to heart and you're like, I'm going to give up on that. I'm going to wait 5 years because, AI is not good enough for me now. And like, you don't build in the reps to ship software. You don't build in to see failures. You don't build in anything to testing. You lose that brain. You lose more by not being in the flow of things. So like, I would hate for you to wake up 5 years from now and be like, what just happened? Like, so much of the industry has changed. And all these other stuff has changed, and you missed out on it. Like, don't do that. You're here for a reason. Let's go ahead and play. Check out StartMy.ai. I'm trying to get this thing going. Get on the email list there. I'm going to ask you some questions. Go ahead and reply back. Check your spam folders, because sometimes that happens. I'm trying to start a movement. I think the first meetup I'm trying to do is like next weekend. So if you're here in the Bay Area, I'm going to try to see if I can do something in Menlo Park. I have a co-working space, or San Francisco. Let me know. But also in the email, let me know what area you're from, like maybe how far you're willing to drive to do a meetup, because I'm down to fly to like Austin or New York. I know there's a bunch of folks in Toronto who hit me up as well. Hawaii as well. Like, let me know the regions, and like I want to fly up and meet up people. I think that's going to be the thing, right? I like being here on the camera, but I like even more being in person and just kind of vibing out with everyone. And then I'm in talks with different companies like Vercel and these other companies who may even give us some credit. So that's to be worked out into the future. But as long as I get some interest and understand, okay, this town is popping, y'all are really wanting to vibe with everyone else, Like, let's just go ahead and cook, right? So that's kind of is what it is right there. Why do people do not focus in enterprise? I think it's coming. I think there's been a lot of weird shakeups with people. So that'd be really crazy. I agree. I worked as a STE in Microsoft for a few years, and I spend more time QA testing my features. Yes, you need some technical knowledge, but you don't need to write every syntax. That's facts. That's so facts. Yeah. Big shout outs to everyone. Let's do SF next week. Let's go. Okay. Keen's already up in here. SF. I'm down. SF. I love driving to SF. It's so cool. Preach. Signs up literally for everything Rains prints out because right. Oh, Lisa. I adore you so much. You're such a wonderful human being. Lisa, for those who don't know, shows up in chat, has tons of experience, super cracked at everything. So go ahead and check out what Lisa Ross is cooking. And I appreciate you for also becoming a member. You're so amazing. Since the very beginning, Rich has been insane. I've been streaming to like one person and that has grown over time. So I definitely always appreciate everyone who's been tuning in here. So most companies in EU are lost when it comes to building AI. Yeah, that's kind of sucks so much, you know? So Sydney, Australia, let's go. Damn, you guys are like coming in from all these different places. I wonder, wait, what time is it there? It's probably just like really early morning, isn't it? Because I know in Hawaii it's like a couple hours. Like, am I the only one in Seattle? Bro, I'm down to go to Seattle. It's super quick from the Bay Area. It's just like a couple hours up. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I'd love to do that. 5 a.m. Damn, bro. Getting up. All right, so man, we this is really cool. Let's see what the other prompts are cooking with here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we have the Droid one. This is GPT-5 model on high in the planning flex spec mode. So the plans nearly look similar between the medium one and then the high one. So we have audit findings, and then we have architectural proposal, and we have a migration plan that's phased here. And then this is the code scaffolding, which it also wrote out as well. And here are some assumptions. So this is about like that the keys can be added using these keys, and then the billing remains duration based, no per provider adjustments needed. This is actually really smart that it picked up on this. Streaming is not required for backend chunk flow. We use experimental transcribe synchronous per call chunk. Perfect. This is beautiful. And then let's go see what the Opus one is. The Opus one. Bro, Opus. I think Opus. Damn. Wow, let me sip some coffee. I'm kind of dry right now. All right, so Opus loves these plans. Okay, Opus is the model that will talk to itself like, okay, this is, if I were to assign characters to these different language models, Opus is like that super nerdy friend who's super quiet at the parties, but is like talking to itself in the corner, and then all of a sudden it gets a hold of a marker and just starts writing on the whiteboard, like Albert Einstein style. It's like, wait, if I do this and I write this, but then if I think about this and I add this onto it, and it just kind of keeps building itself forever. Like you could just leave it by itself. And you're like, yeah, you're cool, bro. Like you keep doing you, and then come back with me when we get that $1 billion SaaS. Opus. Oh my goodness. Code-based audit. Oh, what is impact level high? Yeah. What are they giving this model behind the scenes? This is absolutely cracked. Current architecture workflow. It's got the whole thing spelled out. It found my error patterns. Oh my God, these are good. Billing logic as well. It found everything. Oh, wow. And this is the thing that it did in Cursor too. It knows about this like directory structure and what it's planning to do. Beautiful. Even it has in phases in here. Let's go. So here's the core interfaces. Wow, this is actually really good. What? Okay. The AISDK transcription pattern is here. Oh, wow. So transcribe with AISDK and then do an internal action. This is for Convex specific things. And then what I'm going to do is I call the model with a dot parameter. So I say grok.transcription and I give it the model ID. And then I give it the URL for the blob store, which is what I'm doing when I get set up. And then I have a 5-minute timeout. Wow, this is really nice. That's why I love the ergonomics of the AI SDK, because you have these built into when you construct and call transcribe. I don't have to write that code for every model provider. I just pass in the model ID. So this is nice because I don't have to maintain all the code for DeepGram, OpenAI, Grok, or whoever I pull in as a model provider. I just have the AI SDK, and that's my little factory pattern. And that saves me tons of tokens. It saves me like really weird implementation and timeouts that are only specific to that model provider. Everything's kind of combined into one type of thing. And that way I don't have to really worry about it, but it's also really token efficient, easier to read. Language models love it. Yeah, AISDK V5, if you haven't played with it, y'all need to get up on that ASAP. And then this is, because I do have a custom vocabulary list, I have a prompt, and this is how it's added in. It's added in it's like all of my vocabulary. This is this feature in all my apps. So Ray transcribes have a dictionary feature. So in here, you can add words and phrases, and that's how it actually gets the correct spelling for these. And so that's super helpful, especially for live streaming, because one of the most important things to get discovered is to make sure you have the exact words like GPT spelled out like this in your transcripts. And so that's like, I guess I'm pitching my app Ray Transcribes, but there's a reason for this, right? The reason why I started working on this stuff is because I found out you can accidentally get ranked on Google within hours of a live stream. Especially if a keyword or specific thing is trending, because people will just type that in. And because yours is the only transcript that's spelled correctly, it's going to be up in here. Google, when they do the transcription, I don't know if you've seen people's live streams or anything like that, it will always misspell it, especially on TikTok. You have those people who have captions, they always misspell the captions. It'll say chat GPT instead of GPT. Like you'll see these, or GPT, it'll say all kinds of really weird stuff. But because of the dictionary stuff is in there, this is like the most important thing. This is kind of what makes it, see how the spelling's always right. Really, really great. If anything is wrong, you can always edit it here anyways. And then, change a specific word or do whatever you need to do. Codex Max, high, ultra, high, that type of stuff. And if you do make a mistake or something happens, you can always go to the different versions and revert to them, like restore to the original version. And you can always go back to that. So that's kind of Ray transcribes in a quick nutshell. And so it knows about my custom dictionary stuff that I have implemented, which is great. And it's also going to output these for the return call, whoever calls this. Okay, that's really good. So error handling strategies, undefined error class. So transcription error types, I have these. Wow. Okay, so here's my retry config. It puts it into a configuration for rate limits. So I'll have one here, a server error, timeout. So, okay, cool. I like this ergonomics of the way that it has a config file now for my retries, because not every retry should be the same, right? If you're rate limited, you probably only want to retry once and then have a delay of like 30 seconds to 3 minutes or whatever it is that you want to do, right? If there's a server error, maybe you want to retry a lot faster or try switching a provider. This is very smart. I didn't even give it these instructions, by the way. It figured it out. And here's the fallback. Opus model, Opus. Opus is so damn smart. Oh, I love this thing. Wow, that's really good. Implementation phases. Foundation week 1. So like these timelines are based off of human timelines, but with AI, we'll do this in like 5 minutes, right? This is too damn good though. I really like these plans. File by file changes. Bro, we're getting the straight up breakdown right now. Dependencies, testing strategy. Okay, this is comprehensive. Success criteria. Let's go. Okay, this spec from Droid is crazy. Provider specific UI. Wow. So now it's asking me questions to declare the decision. So should users see provider choice, or is it always automatic best effort? So I think that's something I have to decide, right? And then it's provider specific. How do we expose diarization? So like assembly AI, DeepGram, and this is what I want to expose, like which speaker is speaking and how do we actually expose that into our transcripts as well. And then there's premium providers like these. Should they be tier locked? And also rate limited tracking. So is there per user, or is it just gonna be a global space or in memory or persistent? So these are some questions I definitely have to answer here. And then as far as cursor, let's go back to Opus, because I really prefer the Opus plans. As far as what it's told us so far for the thinking things, let's see. Let me continue to audit. So it just did a quick audit and overview, but in our plan, let's see. So files making LLM calls are here. Here's the current error handling, and then billing integration, UI model selection. Whoops. And then here's the schema changes that it's going to do. Okay, so okay, trim progress. So we have the AISDK integration. That's great. We also have similar error types. We have the Grok wrapper using the AISDK. Okay. And then the provider registry and the unified transcription actions. Okay. Schema changes, dependencies to add, unit validation, rollback plan. So after this, you know what's interesting? It didn't really ask me more questions. Usually they ask me more questions for clarity for Opus in Cursor, but for whatever reason, this one didn't. Maybe because of how the prompt was generated, which I found really interesting, right? Because to me, yeah, it has success criteria. And then the next steps in its to-do list are to actually just go ahead and start creating the software and then testing the flow. And in Droid, it was like one of the things I enjoyed about the Opus 4.5 plan, even though it's 2x more cost right now, in the spec mode is like, this stuff is cool. Actually, this is really cool. Like how, like error handling patterns that I currently have for some of this stuff. But I think the details in which like it does some of this type of implementation, like this type of thing is really cool. Like the unified error classification. So like how we're actually going to do this. But the other part I appreciated about everything else that it did was these final like open questions. So these are really important, especially when you're developing a new feature, to actually understand how these are going to be implemented. Because in Cursor, if we implemented the entire plan, we're going to be actually be missing these specific choices. Like how do we handle automatic best, like actual presenting the provider selection, and then how are we going to handle like diarization? Like those are actually kind of missed in the current Opus plan. Even though it's like look through documentation and stuff here, that's actually one of the two differences. And then how should OpenAI Deepgram be tier locked? Like those are actually really important, really good fundamental planning questions. So maybe I can ask it this follow-ups on the workspace. I want you to let me know if there are any features or things I should be considering given this plan. Feel free to ask me more follow-up questions. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Cursor to see it with Opus and its intelligence to see if it can actually kind of think through this a little bit further. I'm basically giving it a second chance here. And so this is kind of why it's important to prompt with different language models and different IDEs. So if you're a person who uses Cursor, it's maybe good to ask a follow-up question. Like if it didn't come back with enough questions or think through the feature set here, to kind of point it in that direction and see if it actually comes back at you with that. So Convex actions can run V8 and Node runtime. The AISDK typically requires Node.js. Should I verify the AISDK compatibility with? Yes, this should be really good. Yes, verify compatibility first. When multiple providers are available, phase 4, should I do provider selection work? Okay, so this is actually the stuff, the other questions we want to have asked, right? So this is cool. Automatic, always use best effort. Users don't see which provider. Let's see, tier-based premium providers. Yeah, sure. Rate limit tracking scope. When Grok hits a rate limit, should we track it globally per user? Global if user rate limits hit. Per user, only switch the user's request feedback. Per request, just retry fallback with that specific provider. Okay. So ask us some more questions. AISDK supports word level timestamps useful for karaoke style subtitles. Should we add this? Yes, add this as a feature. Okay. When a provider fails and we fall back to another provider, you should know. Notify users switching to a backup service. Log for admins only. Users see nothing different. Okay, cool. So let's just see what we're going to do with this plan. That's interesting. Cool. Droid for me has been a key combined with Cursor. Yeah, I love using both. You know what I mean? Like if you get one or the other, like they have their strengths. So another thing about Cursor that's cool is like the bugbot thing. Like bugbot is super important to, let's see, verifying your stuff that you've already checked in too, to kind of get a second look, which I also appreciate. Gemini seems pretty good. Wondering how it compares in practice. I'll have to try Gemini 3 again. Gemini 3, for me, when I was using it, was so heavily rate limited and stuff like a week and a half ago that I'll have to definitely take a look at it. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So hi from Bruni. Oh, where's that? I'm really curious. Okay. Thanks for the decision. It makes me a much clearer direction. A few more considerations came up with my analysis. Different providers had different costs. Should we track actual provider costs internally for margin analysis, even when users pay? Yeah. Yes. Track for analytics. Yes. Current implementation has no explicit timeouts. AISDK supports abort signal for timeouts. Oh, interesting. Should we add dynamic timeouts? Yes. Rely on the default behavior. Okay, so explicit timeouts. Wait. Should we add dynamic? Rely. I think we're just going to rely on the found an existing planning documents that's quite detailed. Should we merge that into a plan or treat that as an authoritative plan? Let's see. This plan is authoritative. Existing doc is just reference. Cool. Oh, adjacent to Malaysia. Oh, very cool. That's awesome, man. Have to fly out there, right? Cool. I have an ultra plan in Google, but have never have time to take it seriously in a project. I'm curious to see if it's actually come around. I'm also really curious about anti-gravity, which would be super interesting. From what I remember, I found futzing with different models to figure out what's the best at diminishing returns, keeping an eye on obviously becoming an expert, and one is where the money is for me. Anyway, yes. It's right now between like Opus and Opus and Opus. No, I really like the Opus models. The Opus models are incredible, especially if you have like the agent scaffolding has completely has improved quite a bit here on the latest versions of all these different platforms and stuff like that. So based on your answers, let me update the plan to incorporate these decisions. So yes, it says create plan, tool call errored out or timed out. Try again. That's weird. So old str not found in plan. I think it just good. I see phase 0 is already added. Let me add other decisions for the answer is creating plan. Okay, cool. Create plan, tool call error out or timed out. Oh, wow. Okay. So they're having some problems with their plan right now. Yeah. Okay. So there seems to be a bug right now in Cursor. I'm going to do bug report. Report issue. Let's see. Urgent bug. I can't use Cursor. Plan mode fails when I do some follow-ups in a work tree, and it fails with tool call errored or timed out. So I can kind of attach the screenshot to their thing. So hopefully send. Oh, okay, cool. So hopefully the Cursor team can get on this and fix this ASAP because this is not good. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the plan, I guess. All right. So that's kind of that there. Yeah. It's between Opus and Opus is the answer. I'm telling you. Opus is probably one of the most badass models right now. GPT 5.1 Codex Max is something I'm still trying to discover. Like, I think after I have the code that's written or maybe the plan that's kind of fleshed out, I'm really curious. Like when I was generating code with Opus 5.1 Max, it's also really good too. So that's, what are the differences in implementation in each phase? So like, I think the next thing for me is like, can you break this plan into different phases for the implementation? So right now, I think there's a couple different phases that are done. It's basically phase 1 for this provider abstraction layer, which is no change. And then phase 2 is a unified transcription action, and then 3, 4, and so forth. So I think that's pretty much it. Like we would just do phase 1 and just say, go ahead and work on phase 1. So maybe a quick primer on those who aren't familiar with like context window management and so forth, and like maybe some of the differences between Droid and so forth. So with like the way that these models work is they'll have a certain context window, and this is kind of what I was trying to do here. It's really bad at the stuff that I was doing, but I'm going to try to bear with me here. We're going to try to figure this out. Okay. So, this is your context model, and this is your context model on drugs. No. So when you have a context model, what these agents are doing is they'll take your user request or they'll take your plan and they'll say like, make ChatGPT in one shot, right? Like basically this is our plan, right? We have our AISDK V5 migration plan. So plan spec. So once we've built this out and verified that, this is kind of the thing and it kind of works like this and so forth, this is what the cursor agent will then end up doing. It's like, hey, we have this like, cracked tool, and it has its own like way of talking to the model. So the cursor agent will say, okay, cool. And then you have your like code in here, let's say code, and then maybe we'll change the shape for this thing to the like, I don't know, code. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm so bad at these things, but it's okay. All right. So we have our little plan that's kind of sitting here. And then this is like the code, and these are like the little tools that these agents have access to, and like system prompt and all these types of things. So the cursor agent is going to do, like my code and so forth. So the cursor agent is going to try to talk to this model. And what it does is it'll say like, let me just gather some of the code pieces here. We'll probably label the code stuff in like blue. And then this like, the tool calling will just be its own thing. And like, it's going to go and also like try to talk to the internet. Yeah. Internet. We'll do with the S, internets. And so what Cursor will do is it's going to go talk to the internet, gather some documentation, and start to basically kind of build a sequence of things that it needs to send to the model. And then once it gathers enough information and sends some of that, it'll send this to the model, say, hey, here's our request, and this is what we're trying to do. Based off this migration plan, this is what we want. And the model will be like, cool, let me just go ahead and send you back some other stuff too. Here's another response back that you need to add to this thing. And so Cursor will get that. It's like, awesome. Let me just run this by my my cracked tools and see what else we need to do now that we have this information. So it starts to kind of create its own little internal plan. So Cursor has this agent plan that it runs internally, and it starts to come up with its own like little mini to-dos. So it'll say like, okay, cool. Now that we got the first thing done, now I'm going to create some more to-dos here for us to make sure that we stay on track and we can kind of follow through with the user's request, because this is a pretty big request. And here's initially what I'm thinking on doing. And so it's like, okay, cool. Now that that's done, we're going to, like that's complete. Cool. R, maybe, can I change the background too? Okay. So now that that's done, we're going to basically, move on to the next task, and then send that off, like this is the current task in our plan. And then this is what I'm going to go ahead and do next and send that stuff off. So it'll gather different pieces of the context depending on what it needs. It's like, okay, we need this. These two together are going to go out. And then we're also going to grab some bits of the code as well and send that out. So we're going to, have another little guy that comes out from here. We'll just kind of say like, this is the code. This comes from the code thing. And so we're going to combine those pieces together now and send that over to the model. And then that's kind of basically what's going to happen. So all these pieces get sent over to the model again here. And then for what the model does, it's going to like start to think about it. It's going to say, okay, cool. Let me like do some more thinking, and then let me get you back like this really giant piece of code or something like that. So let me just get you to say like, okay, cool. Here's another response that I added onto this. This is my color codes are really bad, but okay, we're going to figure this out. So this is what's actually happening. This comes back here now. Now we have like, Cursor agents like, cool. We've got a whole bunch of stuff back. Now that I got the stuff back and this is complete, this is now going to turn blue. And then the crack tool, the agent plan is going to be like, okay, now that we have this information, let's go ahead and think about all the stuff that we have here. Do we have enough to complete what our next step is? And it's like, okay, cool. Now we have to use our new cracked tool to go through your code and go through other pieces of the plan. Let me review the plan and do all the other steps I need to do. and start to see if we still, because its goal is to get to the very, very end. That's all it has is its goal. It's like the agent plan is to complete everything, right? To the satisfaction of the user and to the satisfaction of the actual system prompt. So that's basically like how an agent sort of works at a high level. And that's what they're doing on your behalf. They're doing like this context management. So they're basically taking this request, doing all the work on your behalf, and then interfacing with the model. So these models can change. So like if I do Opus 4.5, and like let's just say I choose like that model instead of this guy, all the same actions and stuff will still work underneath the hood, and then they will send that over. So what they do on your behalf is basically as soon as you change the model, like if this was your next task and you say, instead of using the GPT-5 model, I just want to use the Opus 4.5 model now. So this task now will turn into, I'm going to set this to clear. So this task will now basically say, okay, now we're going to use the Opus 4.5 model for this task. And for this task, the Opus 4.5 model has now determined, okay, we're going to use, since this task requires like additional documentation and we don't know some more information, Cursor's agent's gonna be like, based off everything I have here are the things that I'm gonna send back up because this is like a recent request. This is another one that you had here. This is also most recent. And then these are the relevant files that you're gonna need for this request. So that gets sent up to this model, and then comes back until the task completes. And it basically goes over and over again. The reason why I'm saying this, and this is kind of why I wanted to do this breakdown, is because context management is what people talk about a lot. And initially, we would always have to, as a user, have to phrase our wording to the cursor agent, because the cursor agent is actually acting on our behalf. It's almost like a proxy to the model. So while you can select the model in the dropdown, the cursor agent is still changing everything that still goes to the model on your behalf. So it's trying to determine what your intent is. It's trying to determine everything that it has access in its purview. So the cursor agent has a lot of access because it has access to your code, has access to your file system, has access to system prompt, has access to a lot of tools that are available. And that's what shapes your request to the agent. So while you select the model, you're actually interfacing still with Cursor, and they're shaping what goes out to the language model and shaping that context for you, because the language models have it's a whole science now of efficiency for feeding stuff in. And so you can still hit certain limits if you try to push the model too much or you aren't very clear, because the model itself is also a language model, just like it is over here. So, but just it's sort of like a proxy in your behalf. The same thing happens with these other things. They just have different types of, like open code will have different types of tool sets. People install tools on top of it to make it smarter, and so forth. And so there is difference between what like Cursor Agent is doing and then like maybe what Droid is doing. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, what does Droid do? So Droid does basically similar to what Cursor Agent is doing, but on the back end, they're basically doing something a little bit, not on the back end, on their app, Droid is basically what they're doing is that they're doing a lot more techniques to do compression and kind of utilize this context efficiency. So very similar to what Cursor is doing. They'll select, different pieces of the context to send back and forth. But every time in Cursor, I don't know if you notice the difference between the two, when you're doing like a prompt or request, is you'll see this little window at the bottom that says like the context window. So you have so much of the context window to use before they say, hey, you have to create a new chat. Or they'll do a compression, or they'll do like some type of handoff. Every agent has a different way of doing this. So once you kind of sort of max out there, that's your key to say, okay, I have to create a new chat. So that's like I'd say like 90% of all AI agents kind of operate this way, where once you see how messy this little desk gets with all these requests and all the different stuff that you're doing just for that one type of thing. Like you have to create a new chat, and that will basically clear everything out that's currently here as far as like context and stuff, but still keep around the tasks for everything else to do. So what Droid does basically is it does a similar thing, but it will actually on its behalf clean things up for you. So if you had all these requests and all these different conversations that you had going on inside of Droid, what they end up doing is that they'll keep them around and they'll do like these compression techniques. And so with their compression techniques, they'll do is like this thing called anchoring, and they'll say, okay, this is the recent thing that you've been talking about. This is where you're at in your planning phase, and this is kind of what you're still working. I hate this app. I need to get a different app instead of Excalidraw. I like Eraser. Anyways, I'm using this for demonstration purposes, and please don't let my hate try to destroy what I'm talking about. But anyways, so if Droid will say, okay, you're still working on this task, and here's what we need to do. We should like kind of compress some of these files and store them in a place where we can always have access to them later on, or maybe we'll summarize or do different things, but you don't have to create new chats every single time. So basically the landscape will get much more compressed. It'll say, okay, here's the thing. Here's what you're saying for this thing. This is really important. Okay, this thing that we're going to send to the model, this one's actually very important because this is still the most recent research task. You're still working on this. This thing that you're working on over here is less important. So we're just going to compress that into this little guy here. And then this guy here is still very relevant. So we're going to make sure we keep that in the context window too. And so for every single turn that you send to the language model, they're going to basically figure out, okay, what is the most relevant thing that we need to send to Opus 4.5. And then you still have these like agent rules files. And since these rules files are really important in its own agent, the Droid agent from Factory AI is going to be like, okay, we're currently working in the UI folder, and in the UI folder, these specific rules here are still relevant, and we need to bring these things out because these are the most relevant things for this specific request and this specific task. So that efficiency is kind of, it looks minor on paper, but it actually kind of compounds over time. So as you have lots and lots of requests, so like you'll have an hour, like you can go an hour long, you can go 100 different chats 100 different like turns in just one session, right? You can go for like hours and hours and hours. I've done this, I've used like 6 million to 10 million tokens. Somebody in my Discord has gone 40 million tokens. It's insane, but they'll keep doing this on your behalf underneath the hood. And so, this is not an ad, right? This is just my experience using these models, and there's just different ways of using them. If you're used to using Cursor, you're just used to already creating new chats, and you have this anxiety about like, okay, here's a context window, I'm filling it up and doing these types of things. But once something works really well and it works well on your behalf and sticks to the plan and these types of things, it'll work. But the only way that this works really well in Droid is if you do that spec mode, plan mode. If you don't do a spec mode or you don't do a plan mode, you're not going to get this type of compression technique that you can leverage in the language model to just have that really long conversation. So because these are the most important pieces for Droid to anchor on, to know what specific parts of your context window it needs to use to fulfill that request. If you don't have that spec in there, it's just gonna be like, oh, okay, we'll just send everything up. We'll get back. We're gonna send everything up to the Opus, okay, and get this back. And that's kind of what ends up happening over time. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on the primer of like the differences between the two. So if you see me using Cursor, you'll see me like do very different behavior in the model, which is creating new chats, creating a new phase, like creating a debugging chat, creating a UI chat. Like you're just gonna keep creating new chats over and over and over again, but everything will have to be micro compressed. A lot of times I can actually handle that in my head. So it could be confusing if you're watching me live and I'm just creating a new chat left and left and I'm like, this guy's moving too fast. But that comes with time. And so if you're not there yet, that's okay. Just kind of have to know that you have to break these things apart. Just remind me, I'll try to break things down again and slow them down. But I just want to give you a heads up on that and on how I work a little bit. And that's what's up. So let me catch up on what's going on. Droids are my employees. Amen, brother. I'm in my solo company. Part of my constitution is to never have staff. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Challenge for you. Just use one session of Droid for a week. Bro, that's crazy. That would be fire. That would be at 2x the cost though, bro. I should have did that for Opus Week when it was like 1x, because that's how I shipped this feature with Ray Transcribe. I shipped the editor feature. I shipped like, I'll show you what I did, bro. This is massive. But I wanted to try Cursor though. Like because Cursor had all these agentic improvements with their language model. And now I'm actually learning about the differences in which like the models behave inside of the Cursor agent, right? So we did GPT 5.1 Codex Max medium, high, and low. We hit a plan on all of them. All of them had the same exact behavior in Cursor Agent, which was, I'm not going to do the research task for looking through the files. I just did a quick high-level scan of what this thing looks like. And in the plan, that's a to-do list. Opus 4.5 in Cursor Agent did that research for us already and did the additional turns and steps to look up the documentations and different things that it needed to make a more comprehensive plan. So that's just the difference within Cursor Agent. The reason why I say this is that it's important to try other agents too to see what they're doing with the same model to see if you get different results. So GPT-5, so I would naturally think, oh, GPT 5.1, Codex Max, medium, low, and high aren't that smart at planning, but that actually goes to the actual agent scaffolding that's behind the scenes, which is at this point is Cursor, right? Cursor's instructions in there must say that, like, don't go crazy calling these files, or, all these other tasks are probably not part of a plan mode or something. There's probably some conflicting information in the system prompt that needs to be reviewed there. In the Droid spec mode, it went and did that, lookup of planning. It went and looked through the files. It went through these other things as well with the same model. So it's, to me now, when I'm speaking about these language models, I have to ask additional questions to people I'm asking, like, when you use the model, what specific agent do you use? And now we understand the characteristic differences, right? As of now, December 6th, Saturday, 10:42 a.m., Cursor in this specific version of software in plan mode has this behavior. Noted, right? That could change tomorrow. I give the feedback to Cursor, they change it in 5 minutes, and then they push a new update. No one has that problem anymore, right? Like, these guys move really fast, and just a matter of changing text around or doing these things. So that's kind of like my little spiel there as far as what's going on. But I also want to catch up to catch up with y'all here. And yeah, so I also want to try open code. I want to try like all the different agents. AMP has made tons of improvements. They have the Oracle thing that's going on. I want to catch up there and see what's going on there. If I'm using these same models, like I know AMP already chooses models on your behalf. Like, what are they doing and why? Like, they use Gemini 3 quite a bit. Is that still the right choice? Does that still get the same goals and stuff that we want to accomplish with these models? Is it the right thing? I don't really know. Yeah. And Droid, I just go forever, multiple days in the same chat, and I don't actually need to use a spec. Bro, Sunny, seriously? I have seen it hop into spec mode sometimes when you do have a request, but I'm really curious if you do explain more. That'd be really fascinating. I love eating the 200 million tokens from Droid. It's like 100%. Yes, actually, yes. That's actually kind of true. If I get any time over the holidays to play, I'm going to lean in on a Droid. Right now, I'm actually all Claude code, hoping my grown kids will keep my wife busy so I can hide. Yes. Yeah. Also, I don't know if you know, Lisa, sometimes I pop in the middle of the night. Like last night, I stayed until midnight, and I was like, oh my God, I need to go to sleep. So this stuff is addicting. Be careful. Anyone using agents for embedded development? Oh, that would be really cool. I'd love to hear that, because I actually want to do more of that too. I have a little toy I want to go play around with and do some embedded stuff. I also want to play around with millimeter wave technology, because there's a cool project that's out there, I think, for detecting falling and detecting people in rooms, because you can actually tell if people are standing up, sitting down, or laying flat. Because I'm doing some elderly care stuff too, and I want to figure out, like, is the person that I'm caring for, are they okay? Are they not? I don't want to have cameras in like the bathroom and stuff, because that's just weird. But if I have a millimeter wave sensor, I can tell if they've slipped, they've fallen. I can get notified. And embedded sensors are perfect because they're so low energy. So I want to do some more digging into that. I think this is a really good one. I really like that and appreciate that. So yeah. Oh, the 2 billion token plan. So this is the one for $2,000 a month. So on Droid, you can pay $2,000 and you get, is it 2 billion tokens? You get 3 Comma Club, right? That's insane, bro. Yeah. I eat Cursor Max subs in less than 24. Oh, you're coking, bro. I feel cheated sometimes, but with Droid, it's so legit. I do. I got my embedded tooling up. With Claude Code, I can work on 10 dev boards in parallel. Oh, bro. Oh, yeah. My man, let me send you some links to hardware for that type of stuff. Yes, please send it over, man. Also, if you haven't had a chance, so anyone who's popped in, check out StartMy.ai. I'm trying to start this new movement. Besides, this is currently done for the workshop stuff, but I'm trying to see who is down for me to go to their town. I want to start doing these Vibe meetups. So next weekend, I'm going to try to have a meetup either in Menlo Park or San Francisco. Right now, the vote is for San Francisco. We have 2 for San Francisco. But I want to see if I can do a meetup of people, even if it's 5 people or 10 people. I don't care. I just want to meet, hang out, and vibe with you guys. Because especially with like this dev board stuff, like you need the physical things in person. And it'd be so cool if somebody brought some stuff. We just kind of start tinkering and start playing around with the stuff. Even if like I'm into that and someone's into someone else, or a designer shows up or a project manager, everyone has different ways of prompting, and we need to be here together. So yeah, StartMy.ai. Definitely come sign up for sure. Bro, I was just in Spain like earlier this spring. I was there in Madrid, Barcelona. I was like I was all over actually, northern Spain, all over like San Sebastian. I went all the way I even went to Portugal as well. I did a whole like Euro tour, bro. Yeah. I was so poor growing up. I never got to do like all my, like people I knew would always have these cool trips to go to, Europe and stuff like. And low key, I always hated them because there was like, man, their families are paying for everything, right? Like they didn't have to worry about any money at all. So they always got like dormitories, books and stuff. And I dropped out of school because I couldn't afford it. And like a bunch of other stuff was going on, right? Like English and all these other things. But like, oh, I just came back from Europe. I'm like 17 or something. And I had the most fun of my life. You should go. This is so great. I was like, bro, there's like a money thing, like I can't do that. But now that I was an engineer for like 10 years at Apple and saved up a bunch of money and got to travel, like I now understand that feeling, but as an actual adult. So it's like, in some ways it's kind of cool. It's very different, but like it's just a different time of life, and that just is what it is. So now I could travel anywhere because I work for you. No, I work as a live streamer. So I definitely, Bilbao. Oh, I got to go. I actually have not been to Bilbao. So I need to go check out Bilbao for sure. That'd be fire. Twitch viewers don't get attention. Attention is all you need. Yo, I just start seeing the comments right now. Are there any more comments on Twitch? I should probably check in on that because this is the only comment I've seen so far. This is the comment I dropped into Twitch. If you see that, let me know. I appreciate everyone who's on Twitch as well. So yeah. Nice. Come to Spain. But yeah, if you haven't had a chance, go ahead and check out StartMy.ai. I'm trying to start this new movement. And so my boy Ross Mike, if you don't know, I want to play around with Convex. Convex has dropped this new thing called components.x.com. I think it's Ross Mike. Ross Mickey, I think. Yeah. I think it's just Ross Mike. Yeah. So we've talked about doing like meetups or like vibe code meetups. And so this is part of the whole thing that I want to see, like, what town are you guys in? If the both of us come together and do a meetup, like, where should we be at? He's based in Toronto, so I'm down to fly to Toronto. There's a ton of people into AI. This will be, like, absolutely insane. So he set up a new Convex component. I want to play around with this, by the way, where we set up payments. Actually, are you guys down? I want to make a Nano Banana kit. I'm not really sure who's interested, but basically, so that you can make an app using Nano Banana, have Stripe set up, have authentication set up, have Convex database set up, have the blob storage set up, have everything working super fast, all in one shot. So let me know if you're interested, because I'm down to make that. I'll probably just build it live because that'd be really cool, because I want to take advantage of the new Convex components. He made this component for Stripe that is just absolutely a banger. So he made the video for it too, but it's just this literally setting up Stripe now with Convex is as easy as an npm install. So we do this npm install. You can have the features you get is setting up checkout session, subscription management, portal management, customer, like writing all these things. Every single line of code takes so many tokens. All of this is already done for us. So we just do the install. It's already in our database. And then, with authentication, and all we have to do is now we get to hear about all these different events that come in from Stripe. And then, it's already done for us. They already have built-in webhooks, which is fire. And then there's already a component for this. So to call it in the component, all we do is like, this is the package that we install from Stripe subscriptions. So we set up a new subscription here basically, and now we have a Stripe client. So all we do is create a checkout session and pass in like the ID and the URL. We could probably pass in additional metadata if we wanted to. We can create a Stripe customer as well from this. And then we do the checkout session. Boom, already done. So much good stuff already written for us in one component. And so if I make the kit, then you could just take this template, fork it, and make your own app. So the app that I made is called AnimeLeak. It currently uses Polar, but I'm going to switch it over to Stripe because that's probably like the best way to do it. So you can just upload images like this, and it uploads it to the Vercel blob store. It's like super fast. So here's the AMA. I'm gonna do what this does is it's gonna hit up Google Gemini, the Nano Flash model, which is super fast, and you can kind of see with its processing, it'll come back super quick, and then it's gonna show us the actual image. So this will take an element in there and kind of do some type of animation. So you can see the original here. You can share on X or copy the link and share it with friends. If you don't like it, you can delete it and stuff like that. And you could even do like 8-bit retro. So let's go ahead and see if I can do this thing 8-bit retro and see kind of what it comes out. So did it do it? Let's see. Did my app crash? I think it crashed. Let's see. Try again. Okay, cool. It's uploading. Cool. So yeah, I would love to just build this app as like a forkable thing, so you could just take it and it works super fast. You know, it's super fit. This is crazy how fast it is. Yeah, this is cool. It's turned my coffee into this cool like 8-bit type of thing, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, look how fast it is. It's like a native app. Like, who does this? So I'm using Next.js, right? Next image basically to get this like super fastness. Vercel blob store, so you can see the original, see this type of thing. Vercel blob store is my favorite now. You can kind of see what happens. And then Convex for the backend. So the Convex is doing all the syncing and all that stuff. This is so wild. This is too good. So it turns this cup into yeah, this is pretty sweet. Yeah. Yeah, and then these are the credits, and then this currently does like a polar checkout. But yeah, I actually forked this project from Mickey. So yeah, AnimeLeak. This is a landing page. All of this was vibe coded, by the way. You could do so much with vibe coding. It's so fun. But like, yeah, this is cool. It's a real SaaS and everything. Do you mind explaining your choice for Convex as opposed to Superbase? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Convex is just amazing as far as a platform. Part of it is because of the tooling. So what Convex offers, if we just go to Convex, convex.com. So what's convex.dev? Oh wow, I didn't realize they don't own the .com domain. So it's really weird to wrap your head around how they do their database stuff. But if you think about what I'm doing with code all the time, is that I'm either, as far as a backend service, all I need to do is pretty much just a couple of things. Whenever you have a front end, you just need to just query the backend and get some data as fast as possible. And then if you ever need to like update any data, you would just do some type of mutation, right? So add something to a list or do something like that. And then if you want to do like a third-party API call, you would just do a thing called an action, right? So typically, if you're working with like an app, what makes it really interesting is like the way that they handle all the tooling. So they set up a WebSocket from the front end to the back end. And as the data comes in on the fly from the back end, as far as the data abstraction, that will update down here like in real time. So I hit this and you can see it goes into the database. And I hit more, it goes into the database. And so this is all from the front end of the UI. If you open multiple windows, it syncs and so forth. So everything is written in TypeScript, and language models love TypeScript. And so part of what's great about TypeScript is the fact that like whenever you write something, it can sort of verify itself in a loop. And if you have that for database code, that's really, really great. So typically when you have abstractions like with Postgres and stuff, you would have to make these abstractions, and your data kind of lives in these configurations for like functions and how you pull these different things. You kind of have to either write them in code so that you have some type of programmatic way to do it, or remember an abstraction in your head. So that way when you add a new feature, you have to like pull in these different pieces and then like build that stuff on the fly. So with TypeScript, another advantage that you get that I like about Convex is the transactional nature of things. So whenever you have something that's transactional, like for me, I have something where I think in one of my apps for transcribing, I chunk the files out for making things really, really fast. So when I do that, what ends up happening is if I have like 10 chunks that I send up to these as an API request, if one of the chunk fails and we retry a whole bunch of time and that fails, I can't give you the entire transcript back and say I'm done. The problem with that is then I'll have a whole missing chunk that is not really there or not that accurate. And so I want to be able to like make sure I fail gracefully, and then make sure any steps that I've done in that entire transaction, whether it's like writing to a log file, writing to other things. I want to either be able to undo it or do some type of thing after the fact. Trying to do that in like a Postgres database and trying to undo that, you have to install and do these other transactional, frameworks on top of that to try to actually make it work like the way it's supposed to work. In Convex, that's already done. It's already just written in TypeScript. It's already part of their base framework. You just, exit out and just kind of do whatever other stuff you need to do, whether it's a cleanup, refund on credits, or other retry mechanisms, tell other stuff to the user. So that's just like one of many pieces, but like the tooling is very mature in Convex as opposed to other database platforms. So these guys have tons of experience. They used to be some of the earlier engineers on Dropbox, scaling to petabytes of stuff. They left and they joined Convex or made Convex. I don't know, it's almost a decade plus ago or something like that. And so they have been working on this tooling for a very long time. It's actually become super mature. And what's ended up happening is, as a result, we're sort of benefiting from that. It just so happens that the AI language models and LLMs have come into this phase where they're really good at TypeScript. So it's kind of the perfect storm. So when the language models, because they're really good at command line interfaces and terminal stuff, they can also do an additional round check in the tooling. It'll say, hey, this change you made to the function, this is actually not type safe. Can you go fix that? And so the language model could see that, go back up and check its work, and then say, oh yeah, that's right. I need to add this other thing because this is dependent on this or whatever it needs to do. So that's just kind of like a really basic primer. There's other functionality like this, the syncing stuff is kind of like a bonus. But the other part of it is they say type safety, but you also get like the components, which we were talking about, which I was showing a little bit earlier. There's other stuff that's in here that's really great, server functions and stuff. Webhooks are built in. It's phenomenal. I'm surprised. Like I'm really happy that it's actually kind of getting more people to use it than ever before. I think it's starting to get a lot more shine. So definitely appreciate that. So, yo, what's up, man? Happy to catch you live as well. I think you're in some other countries as well. So it's been really crazy. My company is in Seattle. My company sell in Azure servers and Azure services. Oh, hey man, Marius, thank you so much for becoming a member. That really means a lot to the group and everyone for joining in. It's so cool you get to join in on the folks to do that as well. GitMax also celebrates 4 months, man. Thank you so much. Use Convex. Yeah, dude, Convex is great. It's probably the best way to, take advantage of these AI tools to build databases really quickly, to make your apps feel very pro. Like it feels super pro. And you write less code. You write less code because the framework handles a lot of that stuff for you, which is great. It's basically a persistent NoSQL database. Just curious, how would you work with relational data like reports? It's just, you treat it like a relational database or non-relational. You could just dump everything into like a table or whatever, and then just start working with it from there. And then later on, as you change the things, you could just make it very relational. So like, or set up indexes or do different things. It's obviously good for some things and not good for like if you have like terabytes of analytical data, you may still want to use like a PostgreSQL database because you can run your SQL commands and get stuff super fast. And this could do it really fast too. But I would encourage you to kind of just go ahead and play around with it and see what your use case is and see if it kind of worked out for you. So Convex is so new though that you have to make sure your agents pull the LLMs.txt. That's correct. I forgot about that. Or also go off the rails super fast. Lisa, thank you so much for that. Yes, there is an LLMs.txt if you just look up Convex AI rules. So there is one in here. They have one for Cursor. They also have one for all the different AI rules. Make sure you pop this in here. You're pretty much going to be solid after that. So more reactive TypeScript and the AI integration. Yes, is rad. Yeah. Yo, Droid Jam, thank you so much for becoming a member as well. Y'all have been showing up today. I really appreciate that. Y'all are real MVPs right now. Use Gemini 3 Pro for UI with some reference screenshots. Okay, so check this out. I want to show you something really quick that I've been cooking with on Aura.build, AURA. So for those who know, who have been like on the long-term live stream stuff here, I've been like cooking live with, and I signed up with this live, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign in real quick. Let's see, can I get the blur screen? My blur screen is not working right now. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. I have to fix that. So I'm going to go to a different screen right now because I want to sign in and I'm not getting the blur screen stuff up. So Here we go. Just signing into Aura.build. I have like 50 different Gmail accounts and it's just all funny, but I want to show you real quick. Let's go back. Oh, I was hitting the wrong button. Okay, here we go. All right, so yeah, this is my California streaming setup. So this is where we are live. Cheers, y'all. Cheers to everyone who's watching. Hopefully the vibes are still immaculate. So in here, I want to show you some stuff that I did. So I was able to make this website in one shot, and it uses the new, I think it uses the new Gemini stuff. So we're able to get this base template here. I'll show you. Aura.build. So this was the template that we got, right? So like this is the template for like all made with AI, which is insane. And so in this template, you can say, I want to make a website about a podcast that I'm going to be doing with another person. And so I described the podcast. I literally got this prompt from Anthropic Opus because I was explaining what our prompt was. And then I threw it in here, and this is what it made all in one shot. Like it made the whole website basically in one shot, like using that specific design. See how it kept the fonts and everything? It basically had everything. This is all vibe coded on one shot. So what I could do is I'll show you how this kind of works. There's a bunch of templates that they have. They have all these different templates, and we can start kind of building from these. And this is how you can make fire landing pages using AI just in one shot. So design prototyping a mobile web app. Let's just go ahead and here. Let's go ahead and prototype a web app. I'm just going to mess around. I'm just really curious. Oh my God, this looks amazing. Aura.build. Man, you crushed it, bro. What is this? Damn. Oh, this is crazy. Okay. So oh my God, this is too good. Okay, let me go back. I'm gonna go down a fat rabbit hole right now. This is too much. Okay, so let's go to templates. We can go onboarding, sidebar, login. Let's do a login page. I'm just curious. These login pages are ridiculous. Oh my goodness. This login page is fire. What is this? Oh my God. Bruh. Yo, how did they? I'm not going to lie. Oh my goodness. All right, let's just do what's onboarding. These, welcome to Glass. Oof. It's gorgeous, stunning. All right, sidebars. Let's look. I want to see if I could like pimp up my Ray Transcribes app, because that'd be fire. That's what I want to do. Because right now, app.raytranscribes. This is kind of my app, right? So it's okay. Like I got the sidebar here. It's kind of chill. It's old school. Like works really great. Is really fast, very efficient. You know, we have our stuff here, but I want to see if I can kind of maybe pimp it up a little bit. So let's see if I can do web grid payment sidebar. This is crazy stuff. What is this? Perspective 3D grid? I'm just going with my bro, this is drag and look. Oh my God, bro. I can't float through the grid. Y'all playing too much. This is too much AI, bro. I can't. Yo, okay. Work timeline. What is this? Work timeline? That is so insane. Navigation bar with 3D Tailwind utilities? What is... Okay, I need to read this. See what's up. Your personal comparison. Start exploring? I don't know. Navigation tab. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Nova 3D. Yo, this is crazy. 3D animated hero with infogrid. This one looks crazy. Let's see this. Yo, what is this? Oh, let's rework Ray. Okay, this is going to be my blog. Fernando.com .ai. So I need to redo my blog page is so like needs to be redone so badly. Like this is old school, and this is all done with like Next.js 14 using the pages router, not app router. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be updated, but this is done in Notion. Literally, I post in Notion, and Notion will publish to my blog like automatically. So I've been wanting to redesign it. So low key, I might just do this design. Oh my God, this is so good. Okay, so I'm going to just go in here. I like this design. I'm going to click it. Let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna one shot this. Okay, made in Aura. I'm gonna go to remix code. Okay, remix. Claude 4.5 Sonnet, best for UI. Okay, remix full template. Okay, so it's just gonna duplicate this design, and we're just gonna do this whole thing here. Do the thing. Okay, so what would you like to change? Change this page to features, adapt this page to pricing. Okay, so I'm gonna just tell it about this page. So I'm gonna see if I can do Claude. I'm gonna do Claude desktop maybe. All right, so I'm gonna grab the Claude app here, and then I'm gonna use, I think Exa can read the site maybe. Let's see. And then my site, Fernando.com. Okay. All right. So, and then maybe select about the about page. A little about me. Okay. YouTube channel at Ray Fernando 1337. Okay. So let's say references. So for those who weren't tuning in earlier, this is the way I do the prompting stuff with the XML tags. And then I'll just do these in like little lists. Ray Fernando site, a little about me. Oh shoot, I hate hitting enter and shift enter. That's like my biggest pet peeve right now. Okay, pencil. Okay, just gonna do a new chat. Okay, new chat, please. Oh, cancel. New chat. Okay. All right, cool. A little about me. Okay. A little about me. Okay. Shift enter. Okay. YouTube channel. Okay. Shift enter. Okay. References. I am using Aura.build to redesign my personal page for rayfernando.com. And the Aura.build share link is the actual design I'm going to use. I want you to try to see if you can review it and look at the elements that are on there, and then take a look at my site. Also look up a little bit about me. I've also attached my YouTube channel so that you can reference this. Feel free to use Exa MCP for search so that you can take a look at these pages, as they'll have information for me. They'll also have some information about my YouTube channel, Ray Fernando 1337. I also post on X, and so you get to know a little bit more about me. The goal is to try to redesign my landing page for rayfernando.com using the Aura.build design. And the interface for Aura.build is asking me the following, and I'll attach a screenshot of the current interface for Aura.build, because Aura is the one that's actually going to be doing the design here. And all I need from you is just the text output, which is the prompt that we're going to put into Aura. All right, cool. So that's that. I'm using Opus because it's such a smart model, and it can figure out things like screenshots and stuff. So that's how I leverage these two models. So I'm going to just give it this big screenshot here. Let's see. Okay, I think it's going to say ask for revisions, and that's the specific thing I'm going to do. So we're going to do here. I'm going to drop this into here. This is so saucy. So Exa MCP for search. So that you can a little bit more about me. The goal is to redesign my landing page, Aura.build. Okay. I'll attach this screenshot of the current interface because Aura, which is the prompt. Okay. So this is all I need. I think I'm just going to let it do its thing. So Opus should now leverage the MCP for Exa code. And then from here, this is how I'm just going to copy the prompt from Opus, because it's going to do a lot of the research for me on my behalf on the web. It's going to go to that website. It's going to think. Let's see what it's thinking. It didn't give me the actual context. Try face. Okay. Let me see if I can give you some more context. So what I can do next is give it some of the like elements here, so it understands some of the context for the layout. And so you can kind of see here too about services. This is really good stuff. Let's see here. Okay. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is probably do a follow-up prompt with that as well. So while that's going, let me see if I can kind of pull it to a new Finder window real quick. New window. So in here, what I'm going to, yeah, so it's going to be doing its thing. I'm going to try to see if I can go to the desktop. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, today. Okay. So now, okay, so I can see it has design called Kuro. Okay, so now it's searching through the stuff. It's done a lot of steps. It failed to fetch my actual website. That's interesting. Oh, probably because it got blocked from Vercel or something like that. So it's just doing more research about me. It found my GitHub. That's interesting how it finds all these things about me. So yeah, that's cool. Scrutinizing. Let me look at, okay, the interface shows Aura.build prompts. So this is actually Opus model. It's now like doing a detailed analysis on the actual screenshot. And it's even found like all the little details. So now I have enough context to craft a prompt for Aura where he wants me to build. So include his info. Nice. So here's the Aura prompt. It's actually writing it for me. So what I'm going to go ahead and do for the second turn here is give it the additional screenshot saying, since you weren't able to see the complete site, you only got the heading, which is this part. I want you to analyze the rest of the screenshots. So the rest of the screenshots are like these ones. So these are like the recent work, about, and services that are in this template, and then continue to give me the updated prompt for this. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and do. So it's almost done here. This is pretty good. This is awesome. Okay, so this is now it's asking me, does it want to tweak anything? It's like, yes, we do actually. So we're going to go to recent work. Okay, cool. So I'm going to drop these other screenshots in the second turn. They should be able to add them in. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to say, since you were able to see beyond the header, I've attached the rest of the design layout. So now you can help me fill in those details as well. So please review all of the attached images and give me the updated prompt for Aura. Okay. Yeah. Boom. This is like the fun part. It's like you have a good design, you have good stuff. And to me, I find this the much more reliable way because there's a lot of information I just don't want to continue to tell Aura about. I just want an AI agent who's already really good at crawling the internet. Opus is so smart. It knows my intent. It knows what I'm trying to do. I can give it screenshots. It knows a lot of things that I don't really have to explain. I could just say, this is exactly what I want. So we're basically following through. And at the end of this, we should basically have a fire landing page that's really similar to this style. And then from there, I can kind of tweak it. But I'm just trying to get the base information to make it feel very much like me. And this is kind of the way that we're going to try to see if we can kind of utilize some of these powerful designs in here. So here's a complete prompt for Aura. Transform this entire page into a personal landing page for Fernando, an AI coding educator. Okay, hero section. Nice. Update the following badges. This is great. Ray transcribe. So it even has some of my products and stuff. My cursor rules has 700 GitHub stars. Are you kidding me? Holy smokes. No way. A text file that I made has 700 GitHub. Let's see. This is insane. No way. 696? Wow, this is insane. literally all it is text files, like MD files. This is the world that we're living in, ladies and gentlemen. Text files. Text files rule the world. That's what's up. That's fire, actually. That's cool. Let's go back to this thing. I want to get this massive prompt. Wow, look, it even has, it's basically doing overall vibe, warm, expert, approachable, someone who teaches. Wow. But let me cook energy should come through confident, generous, and no BS. Dang, bro. Opus cooks for sure. Okay. Transformed into a landing page for Fernando. Okay, this is fire. Let's go back to Aura, and then we should be able to like really cook with this here. So let me go ahead and paste this thing and get this here. Wow. So, okay. And that's it. Transform this entire. So this is what we're going to give. Instead of 4 or 5 sonnet, I think we'll do more with advanced reasoning capabilities so far. Best UI animations and image to HTML. Best for coding. So let's try Gemini 3 Pro. They have Opus right now. Oh yeah, let's do Opus. Show more. Okay. For limited time, Opus costs the same as other models. Okay, I'm so torn. Do I do Gemini? Do I do Opus? I'll do Gemini 3. And then the worst is I fork it again and try the same prompt because it's literally the same thing, right? So I'll do Gemini 3 Pro and we'll see how this does. So I'm just going to send this in. So they do have a prompt builder here, by the way, in Aura. But I just thought I would leverage all the capabilities of MCPs and different stuff inside of Claude Code. So this is thinking this may take a while. So we should be able to see this design transform into my personal design. And this could probably this is probably going to be my new landing page for my blog, rayfernando.com. This is going to be wild. So this is really cool. While that's going, let me just kind of catch up with the comments. It's been a little while. Coffee time. Ray, I got into wireless not to feel lonely. Oh, thanks, man. That's so cool. Cool. Let's see what's going on here. Convex is basically, we're talking about Convex and stuff like that. Yeah, that's right. Marius, thank you so much for becoming a member. It's so great. So awesome. Thank you. It's so cool to see everyone kind of popping in here. Let's see. Make streams Kick too. Oh, YouTube is robbery. Yeah, I need to get on Kick. If somebody has told me about this. So we're basically watching the landing page. The AI is literally vibe coding my whole landing page for rayfernando.ai. And look at the Hawaii time, bro. This is fire. Bro, this design is crazy. Look at this. Oh, this is crazy. Ray transcribes, LLM cursor rules, education got the YouTube channel, live mode. So it even tells me this is badonkers. About remote friendly, 17K subscribers. I think we're at 18K now, right? Or 19K? Are we at 19 already? That's going to be crazy. 12 years at Apple, 5 days to ship. This is, yo, this is fire right now. This is crazy. Yo, this is crazy. We're just literally watching this landing page land. This is so, yo, Aries, thank you so much for becoming a member. Y'all are the real MVPs right now. I hate the pink flag. That Kira one's actually used as a guide for my own app. Let's go. Dope design. I have 43 views on my platform. I won't change design again. Oh, interesting. It'll probably figure it out, but Ray Fernando's site has the typo at the end. Oh yeah. I removed the typo. Yo, this is this is crazy. Damn, this is fire. Look. Bro, I touched zero code. Zero code was touched in this entire process. Sheesh. Google Gemini 3? Bro. I mean, Opus did a lot of the heavy lifting for us, right? Book an intro call, join the Discord. Yo, this, view the GitHub. And it actually has, wow. This is fire. What is this wizardry? This is insane. What? This, oh my goodness. Can I go mobile view? Stop. Stop it. This. I'm going to nano banana myself into this image, right? I need to get my face, nano banana myself saying, hey, this is my face. Can you make one just like this, but using my face? Hey, that will be crazy. Oh my, stop it. Stop it right now. Stop. Oh my, what is this? Look, it's coming out of the head. Bruh. Oh my gosh. This is already. What? Bro, I don't think we're ready. I'm not ready for this new movement. Can you believe this? Oh, wow. Not gonna lie, this is insane. Okay, I knew it did some one-shot stuff, but still, this is powerful. Absolutely powerful. That's crazy. It's fun how we all move hands while prompting. Yeah. Thanks for the tip about using Gemini. I have a need for using a lot of off topic. Am I the only person converting to race key? Yes. This keyboard is cracked. For those that don't know, this is the Knob One keyboard. It's not cheap. It's like $450, but the feel and everything in the way like it types is I tried a lot of mechanical keyboards. I Apple keyboarded my way through most of my life, and this is the first time I actually stuck with the keyboard. It just has a nice weight to it. It feels really good. Has like the bounciness of everything. I prefer to type with this. You should see my whisper flow. My whisper flow was really high until I got this keyboard and it just went. Because I actually prefer to type now much more on this because it just flies really fast. And then when you go, the worst part is don't go back to an Apple keyboard, because once you do that, everything feels kind of clicky and it feels like those chiclets that you pop out for getting gum. That's how the Apple keyboard feels at the beginning. You're like, man, why is it got to be so stiff and sticky and stuff? Like this one just kind of pops back with your hands. It just feels so nice. It's well worth it to me. If you're going to spend if your hands are going to spend a lot of time in a lot of places, $450 well spent for sure. Save the entire HTML. Yes. Yeah. Indeed. You must know it's really the only one. Yeah. Look at the hands. Looks like it was made by Teenage Engineering. Oh, this keyboard is called the Knob One. Let me see if I can show you real quick. Knob.design. So Knob.design. Oof, I think it was inspired by them. Is Ben Frick? Did he do? I don't think he did at Teenage, right? He's a phenomenal designer. I love his work. The only problem is the battery life with this. If I unplug it, my battery will maybe last an hour or two. So I have to always keep it plugged in. But aside from that, super fire. I think they're working on a firmware fix. I've been waiting for like a couple of months, but even with that, I plug it. I'm good. I'm so good. It's so freaking amazing to see this. Yeah. Ray will see my comments after he makes the design. I think I did. Yeah. What was it? Prompting without hands doesn't feel the same. Okay. Thanks for all the contents. What do you think of spec-driven development tools? Okay. So, there are other tools that have like BMAD method and other ones that I'm still looking into. I think they've made a lot of improvements. I have a lot of experience in the industry, like trying to shape features and stuff. So a lot of times I'm trying to keep everything super lightweight, but I think they're great if you're still getting started with coding to go ahead and try one of those out and see what they do, right? Some of the good things that they do is that they help you with your thinking, your structuring, your planning. But right now, if you just talk to Opus and you give it a prompting guide like we did earlier with GPT-5, what happens is it shapes your prompt into something that's much more better for the model to like work on. So just the difference between the two that we did in like Opus and GPT-5 for our first prompt, and then we went and give it the prompting guide and have it reshape our prompt and try again was a huge difference between the two. So something like having a prompting guide can already help shape your plans up to be really good. A lot of these models didn't have plan modes or spec modes until like BMAD and these other ones became really popular. So that's how important it is. In fact, a lot of these models now rely on these plan modes to make their agentic workflows work really efficiently. So definitely recommend them. Try them all for sure. It's so great. GitHub looks so weird in light mode. Instructions equals money for sure. Rate site's about to be pimped for sure. Ray, here's your success. Love the vibes. I love everyone's vibes in here. Y'all are so immaculate right now. It's so great. Most of the code was already done. Exactly. So what we did basically with my prompt in Aura.build, for those who don't know, was the fact that we utilized an existing template and then had it go fill in the information. It does this now in one shot, which is probably the best part. A lot of times when you would do this in other agentic coding tools, maybe even like a year ago, doing this would take so many different turns. It would just take a very long time to kind of get this to work. But nowadays you can pretty much almost do them in one shot. And it is pretty much this. Oh, wow, indeed. Yeah. Gemini 3 is the new front end king, according to multiple YouTube videos. Try it out. That's all I got to say. Like, try it out. Y'all see what's going on. This is how we do it. So do it for the astronaut, bro. Meng 2 is a genius behind Aura. Y'all need to follow him too. Yeah. Basically, you can pretty much thrive in the industry if you have any, like, Rosmike, Indie Dev Dan, Nate. Thank you so much, man. That's so cool. Yeah, those are really great selections of people on YouTube channels. Highly recommend. Also, if you haven't had a chance to, check out Rate Limited Pod. So youtube.com/@RateLimitedPod. This is a new podcast I started with, not actually, I didn't start this. Gosu Coder, aka Adam Larson. He's the genius behind this. He said, "Hey, Ray, I want to do a pod with you. Is there anyone else you'd like to do a pod with?" I was like, "Yo, we got to roll in with Eric Provencher." And Eric is awesome because the three of us every 2 weeks catch up. Literally, we don't really talk between the two too much. We kind of save it for the pod. So a lot of times it's our first time reaction, or we'll share a model we've been coding with a lot and share our opinions on them, whether things work or not. So we've just kicked off the pod. We already have like 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. And our latest episode already has 6,500 views. So if you haven't had a chance to subscribe, definitely go check that out. It's really good. I feel like it's one of the few places on the internet right now where you can actually kind of hang out with me, Adam Larson, also Eric Provencher. We are what we would say AI practitioners. So in our field, we spend a lot of time, like I do here on these live streams, prompting the models. Like I try Droid, I try Cursor, I try every single one. There's only so many that we can look at per day. So each of us have different perspectives, and we kind of sit down at the table there and just kind of bring that in and say, okay, did you know there's a difference? Like I'm going to bring in this insight that we just shared on the stream, which is plan modes, right? Like yapping a plan into Opus seems insanely good, but it becomes even better if you throw in the prompting guide from GPT 5.1 Pro Max. But there is a difference between Cursor's prompting as of right now to what Droid is doing in spec mode and the comprehensive nature of actually it trying to do some research, right? So does it make a difference in the long run? To be determined, but this is like the first step, right? So that type of insights are the things that we share on that pod. So definitely go check that out if you haven't had a chance to subscribe. The comments are funny. We definitely read everything and interact with everyone, which is probably the best part of it. For the longest time, I'd never said Adam's last name because I didn't really have it with me. And I wasn't sure if he wanted to share it. So I just said, do you want to go by Gosu Coder, aka Adam, or something like that? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And then a comment later on said, we can finally afford his last name. And then I kind of dropped that in one of the episodes. But there's little stuff like that, which I appreciate. So this is awesome. I meant comment about Aura having the code already there that you can just copy and paste into the model. But it's still a good job. Yes. Oh, that's right. You can also, yeah, that's right. Yeah. This keyboard's cracked. Knob.design. I love this keyboard so much. Yeah. I will promote it without any affiliates, anything. I don't care. I need y'all to get up on this level. It's so good. It caused a lot of bids, not for everyone, but when you do use it, you'll be like, I feel so good. I feel so good using this thing. It feels good. I think is there like a keyboard typing test, monkey type? Yeah, I think that's the one. Let's see, reject all non-essential. Okay. My words per minute's really slow because I yap too much. This is really, really cool. So yeah. Let's see. Use Gemini, please. Okay. Sign up for the workshop. Stoked. Yo, what's up, man? Yeah, definitely check it out. If you haven't checked out StartMy.ai, would be really, really cool. So that's what's up. Okay, cool. So, but yeah, I don't know if you heard the keyboard typing. It's pretty fire. Actually, let me see if I could put the mic on it. If I put the mic on the keyboard, can y'all hear it? Oh, okay. I'm going to break. I'm doing it for you guys. Whoa. Okay. I think you can still hear me. If I do like clickety clack. I want to hear what you guys are hearing right now because this would be interesting. Okay. Oh, okay. This is okay. It sounds really awkward. So like, oh, yeah, that sounds pretty good. So this is. Oh, okay. Let's just try this now. Yo. Okay. Let's try a new monkey type. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Oh, my bad. Sorry for the sound check there. But yeah, for anyone who's wondering, that's how a keyboard sounds like. It's probably sounds better in person, but the ergonomics of like the way that you can just kind of bounce back and forth is really, really fun. I do find it really enjoyable to type this way, actually. It's really great. And then see, the thing about typing is once you start to get in flow, it feels really good. It has a really good reinforcement feedback. So that's my hot take on the keyboard for anyone who's wondering. So that's like knob. I think it's knob.design. Here we go. Yeah, knob.design. Let's see how much they cost. Yeah, $439 USD. Batch 2, shipping Q2 2026. So you can get, if you're from the UK, you can get the French one, German, Nordic. And then there's also other accessories. I didn't get the black ones, but I thought I would. But yeah, no, I like the cocaine white. Okay, that's what's up. Cool. So Ray talked about the knob one. My wallet is angry now. That's right. This is only for the people who like have that extra credit card from your partner that you want to stash away to the side. Like this, that side purchase that y'all can't be telling them about right now. So there's a couple people who have their side purchases, and the side purchases that some people have, I know who you are. You got that extra Claude code account. You got an extra keyboard. You probably got an extra laptop too from your work. So because you don't want to be doing your work stuff and the personal stuff at the same time. And so your wife is going like, okay, who is this other person you're buying stuff for? You just spent like $5,000 on another person and you didn't buy my purse or something like that. You're like, it's for me. It's really me. It's not some. I'll show you all the accounts I have. Like, this is me. Like, I'm not cheating on you. I'm just spending late nights in this other room using my stuff. Right? It's like, that's what it is. I mean, like, it feels like using AI feels like you're just kind of cheating on someone because you're spending more time coding late at night when you're not working. You have another keyboard. You have another computer. You have all these resources you're spending money with. Subscriptions that's demanding all your attention. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. So if y'all gonna be dropping some dimes on this, might as well have a good time. That's what I'm saying. I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate all the work that you put in and gone from small freelance gigs to now making my first SaaS product. Let's go. And hopefully that will go well, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is what it's about. And this is why I love this community, because we're here to kind of come together, kind of hang out, be with everyone. And the meetup thing is going to be really real. So StartMy.ai. I'm like my 2026 goal, and starting next week in San Francisco is currently the top bid right now. Could be Menlo Park if you're in the South Bay. Trying to figure this out. Go ahead and sign up. It's free. You put your name on the email list. Not only will I do the workshops on the web for free, but we're gonna do meetups in person for free. The whole goal is for us to just build together. I need to be around other people like you guys who are inspiring me. Like, there's people who are crack designers, right? Ming.2. If he's in the Bay Area, you best believe we're going to have a meetup. I want to see how he does Aura.build live, right? If there's fire programming managers who do cool stuff, Coriolis is amazing at my Discord. He's in the UK. I'm gonna be flying to the UK. We're gonna be doing that thing over there in the UK. He's crazy at project management design. He has a technical product that he's releasing that does a lot of this cool stuff. He's in the Discord blowing it up like crazy. So you haven't seen, check his stuff out. He has this project called Droids, Droidz. Check out this crazy GitHub. So this has skills, has a bunch of other cool stuff that y'all need to get up on because it makes your AI coding like insanely crazy. So this boy cooks. So these are the types of people that we want to be hanging around with at these hangouts to learn from and learn together. And I feel like that's probably going to be like the best way to do it. So you know what I mean? So yeah. My wife bought me a second Mac Studio the other day so I could have a local AI machine. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Paying $500 for AI. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, man, I'm so sorry right now. I'm so sorry. Like I don't know. It's fun. I feel like we're all gonna vibe together. So that's what's up. I've been the early adopters of AI IDE using the last 2 years, and I feel development on these stuff has got to stop now. It feels like perfect level. Yes. They've come very, very far away, man. All right, so if we go to YouTube at Ray Fernando 1337, just from like a year ago, right? If we go to my lives, we're gonna go all the way back. I have like hundreds of videos, right? These are all live streams, by the way. We've been doing this live for like a hot minute. So we've been in this. So back in the day, like this is the video you can see in my earlier videos, like where it really popped off, right? Like this is talking to Chris Latner at the AI Engineer. Like no one cares. You know, a year ago, it's like, who's Chris Latner? You know, who's like this guy from Grok? And like, who's Simon Willison? Like this is early AI, right? AI pin. It's like, so here was like some of my first live streams, like 100 views. And this is kind of where like nobody really cared. And this is kind of where like I was doing a show with my friend Ronald, and we were kind of playing around and I was experimenting with the live stream format. So where I really started doing a lot of AI coding live kind of started happening here on like in July. So I was building the GPT from scratch using Apple MLX. And so I was just kind of starting that off there. And I just started to just do it privately because I thought I'd do my own thing there. I was like, oh, I want to learn this faster on my own. So I'll do that. And then this is kind of where I started to get like crazy views once I started to kind of build with AI. So this is like the building with Claude Sonnet. This is kind of the live stream. And this is how far back, I mean, like just 1 year ago, right? And this guy said 2 years ago when he was using probably GPT-2 or GPT-3, right? Or just probably the early versions of GitHub Copilot. And with those versions, you know, they were not that good. So you'd have to copy and paste to smarter models. And I was copying and pasting over in Claude world. You know, I think that was a time like Claude Opus. So Claude Opus is really good. When I ran out, I would Claude Sonnet and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of the earliest days there. So we go way back, but yeah, AISDK. And then we just kind of kept going, right? So this is kind of where we are today with our live stream. So if you haven't had a chance to, definitely subscribe. We just hit that 19K subscriber mark. Let's go. We're doing the StartMy.ai movement. This is going to be the thing we're going to do in person, which would be really fire. Toronto meetups. Okay. Lisa, you're in Toronto? If you're near there, let's go. How far away are you from Toronto? Is it a couple hours? Because Ross Mike is from there. And we're going to do a meetup there for sure. Yeah. Speaking of specters and Dremel, have you tried SpecKit from GitHub? I want to do that. SpecKit. This is like on my to-do list because I've been meaning to check this out for a hot minute. And I know these tools keep like changing and evolving. So we just install it, specify in it. And I also need to show you this one from Coriolis, like the droids one that we're talking about, because this one is ridiculously fire. So yeah, thanks for the video on Vercel. Git has changed a few of my DevOps better. Also, Droid is fantastic. Yes. So if you haven't seen, I have a video on how I do Git branching and stuff. So in my video section here, there's one. Oh, okay. So the members first. This video is coming in a couple of days. So for those who just became members, if you haven't watched this video yet, you can kind of watch it before it goes live tomorrow, about like the context window and like how you can do some effective agents. So this is how you set up your agents MD files. It's a really good one. This is a really good one. If you haven't watched, and this is kind of what Augment is talking about, is like how you can improve your Git workflows. So how do you set up feature branches? Basically how I ship my software live. You know, I set up a feature branch. I put all that stuff in there. If I don't like it, I just throw it away. If I do like it, I just merge it into production. So this kind of goes through those steps. It's just like a 20-minute video. It's pretty good. And it's like nice and edited as well. So for those people who do support the channel, number one, I appreciate y'all so much for the support. But all of the support and stuff has been going into like hiring editors and helping people make this type of thing. So that's what I really appreciate. It's just like all the stuff that's going in, rolling into helping me like make these nice focused videos. Because I know not a lot of people have a lot of time to tune into the live streams and spend a lot of time with me. And for the people who do spend a lot of time with me, y'all are crazy, really good. But all of this stuff is going to continue to roll in. So as members, if there's like a to-do list, or if there's like a wait list, anyone who is a member is going to be able to get into some of these meetups and stuff like that. So if I'm doing a small thing and you're a member, I'm going to make sure that you get into these types of events and stuff like that. So that's kind of what that is right there. So that's StartMy.ai. Then want to make sure I take care of you guys. So when you think the AI models will be so good that they will replace forever the low, medium developers, I think that's going to be a long ways away. For a lot of reasons, is because a lot of these folks are working on their agent scaffolding, and there's just a ton of work. So earlier in the stream, I was kind of explaining how some of these types of agents work. And just from explaining it, like a really basic agent workflow that interfaces with an API, there's so many different steps involved. And all these companies are throwing lots and lots of money at it. So in a decade, it'd be interesting to see where we get from here. But there are some there's some workflows that are really good, like, doing some type of one-shot things, but then there's all the little details that you need to ship software. So even working at a very large company, right? When you do have an idea for something, it can be shown in a couple of slides in a couple of hours and it looks really good, but the implementation is kind of insane. So like I go back to earlier projects that I worked on, like the very beginnings of the Apple Watch. Like they took the iPhone software and had to branch that. And then they had to branch it and then get rid of code and tune it specifically for the architecture of the small little Apple Watch. Like the concept made a lot of sense. Engineering wise, it made a lot of sense. You can sit project managers in a room and it makes a lot of sense. But the implementation and where everything kind of comes together is kind of where everything explodes. It's always been true for the history of life. And so even if you have language models that are smart enough that can replicate all of those engineers that build all that technology, you still need to have these systems and other like human elements that have taste, right? To really drive what it is you want to drive to. And that's, from now in the next 10 years, I don't see any of that stuff being replaced as fast. I think we'll get closer to bits and pieces of it. Obviously, like demos are really important, but then there's also other physical constraints, right? In the current paradigm for the current research that has currently been discovered and explored as of right now, the tokenizing system has a lot of limited capabilities, right? Multimodal systems have different capabilities. We have still yet to tap into other ways of compressing and decompressing information for use, for action, and perhaps we'll come up with a whole new paradigm. So maybe it's AI like language models combined with quantum computing, because quantum computing can operate in a whole different spectrum of spaces that we don't really understand yet. So if you combine these two together, they can behave a lot differently, and it's maybe not in the way that we're expecting it now, right? Ilya Sutskever has an interesting theory here about having a type of system that can act like a 13 or 14-year-old. And when you put them into a company, they can start learning. So after 6 months, they become so familiar, like an employee that you just hired, that then they can start doing tasks of that person. So for example, you hire a person who's like an admin, and then you put them in your company. This AI system 6 months later will become and build enough tool set and know a lot more about your company over that period of time, and then start to actually yield those returns that you invested into it. And because it's a self-learning system, it's not more generalized like the current general language models, but it's more specified for just learning. So that's an interesting take that I haven't heard other people do, but that's something that Ilya Sutskever talked about in his latest podcast with Dwarkesh. If you haven't had a chance, go listen to that. Extremely insightful, but it got me thinking too. It's like, wait, why do we need a more general model? That's what everyone else is doing. What if you just go to the more basic thing of learning how to learn? If you can figure that out, sure, you may not get the one response, I know everything in a PhD paper, or I know how to solve this crazy math problem that can lead to cancer. But if you have a system, right, it's all about building systems that can learn and then teach other people or teach different things, now you have a multiplier effect. So that's kind of where I see things going really more than I see like an AI agent or a prompt taking over an engineer. I think what we're looking at right now is like a really zoomed in view. I know it seems really zoomed out, but it's actually really zoomed in, because once society starts to understand these principles, you start to then zoom back out. You're like, wow, that is really, really massive. So in this same type of thing, we're looking at a very zoomed in view of how this types of systems interface with a singular language model, right? But if we keep zooming out for a long time, all of these systems will build around it, and the systems will build systems for those other things. So we'll have a whole architecture of things and a learning system that can learn how to learn and build other learning systems. So yeah, it's got a while, but it's a great question. I really appreciate that. I think everyone has a lot of opinions on this, and then there's a lot of really hot takes. There's also people who are financially motivated. So one of the things you want to ask yourself too when people talk about these things, understand their background. Where are they coming from? Are they a venture capitalist? Do they benefit a lot by talking about this technology and saying that these specific takes, because it actually may benefit them and the companies they invest in, right? There's maybe no other way that they can look at it because it benefits them in their way, right? I mean, everyone has a way of but what you're only hearing is the way that they're presenting the information because it's beneficial to them. When other people are thinking about it, are they thinking critically about it? What are the considerations have they thought about? Are they like, I mean, it's just critical thinking in a nutshell, but that's kind of an interesting thing. The thing with such systems is that big tech have a unique specific set of problems that medium level devs tackle that require things like doing multi-system work. AI is pretty far ahead of a middle developer. Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like if you're a really productive developer, you can start yielding the systems to do those works that you're doing. So that's another thing. Yeah. That's why they say ideas are great, but implementation is gold. Exactly. 4D chess move. We'll find a way to go to a meetup. Give me an excuse to travel to America as a business expense. Hey, Hawaii, bro. Hawaii. I think you're in Sydney, right? So just fly to Hawaii, bro. Like, let's go. It's not that far away. Like going to California is much further. I just want to make a shout out from Sweden. Oh, let's go to Sweden. Yeah, let's go. Check my messages. I want to know your point of view. This is the only message I got. So there must be something with the API in Ecamm Live and Discord, or not Discord, Twitch, because this is like the only message I've seen recently. That's really interesting. Cool. Don't go to Sweden. It's cold. Yeah. Okay. So for those who don't know, I spent so much time in Hawaii that like anything below 74 degrees, the puffy jacket comes out. Like it sounds like a joke and you guys are like laughing. You guys would die. But I would also think that people from the colder regions, as soon as they go to Hawaii, you can't see the thing with cold, you can always put stuff on. But when you go to hot regions and you're totally acclimated to hot weather, like you can't take more stuff off. Like you have to sweat to kind of have your systems kick in to cool you down. And if you're just so used to cold weather climates and you go to hot and your body's not like primed for that, you kind of die unless you have air conditioning. So for me, I like being in the sun all the time and being outside is great. So cold for me is rough, but I can deal with it. Puffy jackets and all, 74 degrees, 73 degrees. It's kind of wild. That's cool. So I think I'm not a dev. I worked in IT and I have AMD GPU. I was investigating about machine learning and PyTorch is not doing good with the RockM and DirectML. Oh, okay. Interesting. My GPU had no SKD to use the GPU. Somehow with a few AIs and some investigation, I completed the Vulkan SDK. Wow. Sweet. At P3, I need to test my project transformer using full control. Bro, like, let me know what techniques you're using. I'm really curious to see, what you're actually ended up using. Is it just like a Claude Code or Droid or whatever under the hood? That's really interesting. What if you sweat in air conditioning? That's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh man. Literally shoveling my roof. Oh my God. Hey, California is really sunny right now. Oh no, I feel bad for y'all right now. You're my people. Okay. But if I'm going to be going to Toronto, it's probably going to be in the springtime. Right? Actually, let me know what the best time is to go to whatever your region is. If you're replying back to Ray Fernando, StartMy.ai, let me know. Let me know, like, not only like the city that your guys are in, but like what specific, what's the weather like at a specific time, or what's the best time to go in. So yeah, that's what's up. Okay, cool. So that's what's up. All right, y'all. I think it's time to get some lunch and get some stuff going and ship some more software. So I need to check out that plan that I was currently working with, get back to the AISDK stuff because this looks pretty good. I need to, hit the restroom and do a whole bunch of things. So yeah, I had a chance to check out StartMy.ai. Yo, LA. Okay, we need to do, not only are we going to do the code tour, I'm going to do the taco tour as well. But y'all, we know we're going to hit the Los Angeles food trucks around. Sheesh. Okay, so if you haven't followed, there's this guy on TikTok. His name is Taco Fiend, Feind. He does these taco reviews all across the US, pretty much all around the world. He's from San Diego. I have so many bookmarks from Los Angeles and San Diego of all the different taco trucks I got to hit up. You better believe that we're all going to show up. We're going to buy them out. Like, I'm going to get some of whoever's been supporting for memberships, we're going to go buy some of these taco trucks out too, because those look amazing. This guy's extremely critical down to the tortillas, the grease, the different types of meat, the flavors and everything. And it's the most entertaining YouTube channel. And he has an amazing story about him because he basically, was living in this car for a while, super broke, had this vision that kind of came to him saying, I needed to do this thing where I do taco reviews. I'm just going to do it, whatever. Literally from his iPhone and a tripod has gone from a couple hundred followers to like over 500,000, has become a whole movement. And he's on the same energy. I call him the Mexican Mr. Beast. Yeah, like he's like so great. And I love what he's doing. And I love people who like that, who really just kind of give back just out of their heart. But this guy literally had nothing on his back and is now making a story of himself. So I definitely appreciate people, because I come from that similar background, right? Like you have nothing, you're struggling and fighting really hard. And then you start to kind of break through and then, start to do your own thing. So that's kind of the thing that we're doing. Taco truck tours, like where you're at, like we're going to roll up. We're going to like check out some of these taco trucks. That'd be so fire. So that'd be amazing. Yeah, another fire session. I appreciate everyone for showing up. This is really cool. Come to my cottage. We'll do the meetup on my deck. Oh, that'd be so crazy. Oh, I forgot about bugs. You get so spoiled. Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, so that's awesome. Yeah, thank y'all for showing up. This is so crazy. Before ending, can you just summarize when to use the model for what? All right, so you're talking about GPT 5.1 Codex Max and what specific thing for where. So that's what I'm still trying to figure out. Where does this model work really well at writing code, executing code? Also, what level from low to high? So in the GPT-5 era, I always prefer GPT-5 low because it was really fast, fairly accurate, and worked really well. But usually I preferred it to write code after I already had all the plan worked out from Opus. So in this way, Opus 4.5 is really, really good. It's quite costly now inside of Droid because now it's 2x the cost. But if you can get it to write your plan, be very comprehensive, hand that over to like GPT-5 low or something and just let it rip on a phase. You probably even hand that off to GPT 5.1 max, medium or low, and just say, go ahead and implement phase 1. And you can trust that it's going to do it pretty well. So that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about it right now. The results may vary depending on Cursor, Droid, or whatever other agent we put it in. So that's what I'm going to be discovering next on my live stream tomorrow. So I'm going to pop in tomorrow. We're going to do some more coding live. Kind of check that stuff out. So that's what's up. I know you're a fan of Droid. They're very good at context. They have recently Claude 5 Opus to use Memory Bank. That is a free solution on Claude CLI. What do you think about Droid versus Memory Bank? I need to check out Memory Bank. I've preferred Droid for the sole reason of like it already automatically compressing some of the context for me, and I'm not having to rely on the third party because as part of the agent scaffolding behind Droid, it's already kind of doing that for me. Cursor does something similar too, right? Like they have their own thing that keeps tracks of the tasks and the different phases and stuff like that. But once I get to a certain point in Cursor, like once I have the spec, I start to work on phase 1. Let's say, go ahead and start phase 1 with this. And then once I'm done with phase 1, I tell it to write a handoff document to say, okay, now we're going to do a bug review. Please write a comprehensive documentation of like all the stuff we've implemented in phase 1. Here are the sets of bugs I need to start fixing now. And so that's where I started fixing it. and then I write off a handoff document after that. So like I keep having to write handoff documents in new chats in Cursor. So that way the context window becomes cleared out and it becomes very efficient for the specific type of thing. In Droid, I just kind of keep the conversation going. I say, okay, now let's fix this bug. Now let's fix this bug. Okay, now let's move to phase 3. Because it has all that stuff anchored in its summaries, it can go back with Droid and pull those things out that it needs to, and I don't have to like create new chats. So that's the difference between the two of them. With Memory Bank and Claude Opus, I would imagine it's something similar, but I'm not sure how much more management you have to have. And whether you create a new chat, if the Memory Bank keeps that over and kind of hands that off, and that's maybe what Droid does. I'm really curious. Just drop your comments below. And this is part of why I want to do some more of these types of sessions live and also in person, because then we can kind of share like really quickly. Somebody can just get on stage real quick, or in a meetup, we could just kind of turn your computer around and start talking about this, because that's really, really cool. Yay, more live streams. Yeah, more. Now that I got my studio set up here in California, tomorrow live stream. I'm going to live stream every day, actually. I thought about this. Like in December, I'm just going to live stream all the way down as much as possible. I feel like we're in a new movement right now. We have to keep these going. And then, yeah, next week in person, I'm going to try to see if I can set up the live stream. So depending on if I end up in San Francisco or Menlo Park, depending on the comments and stuff, that's where we're going to be at. So that's what's up. Thanks for the episode. Cheers to you and everyone. Yeah. Anyone using Exa in here? I'm going to remind Ray before we go. Yeah, so I use Exa, and then what's that thing you sent me? I think you sent me the 12 Days of Christmas. Let me see if I can find this in my chat and then share this with everyone else. Because what you can do is get $50 of credits and Neek, 25 days of agents. Let's go. Okay, so 25 days of agents. Thank you so much for this one. So this site right here is the 25 days of agents. So this is from Nick Diaco. If you haven't had a chance to follow him, this guy is awesome. Share this resource, completely amazing. So what's cool is with Exa in here, you get $50 free of API credit. So every single day they're unlocking a new thing. So we're currently at Cubic. So Cubic is Cursor for code reviews, and they basically have 3 months for free, and it's worth $90. So you can kind of do that in here. But they also have an 11 Labs credit. So you get 3 months for free of the creator plan, worth $55. Super awesome. And they're going to keep dropping stuff. So tomorrow they have Railway. The next day after that, Browser Base, Black Box AI, all these new drops that are coming. And all you have to do is check out that link below. So that link is basically right here, 25 days of agents. So for the people who left early thinking the stream was over, y'all are missing out, man. You got to stay to the very, 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 very end of the stream, because we just keep dropping nuggets left and right. Just when you think I got to go to the bathroom, we just drop another nugget. You know what I mean? That's what's up. So, yeah, this is Firecrawl's coming up. Cloudflare. We got Convex at the very end. Oh, you know they're dropping on day 25. That's about to be ridiculous. Damn, that's crazy. Can we unlock December? I'm gonna see if I can inspect Element and see anything in here that they leaked out. I want to see what they're dropping. Convex. I don't think we get anything. Yeah, I'm just curious. I was well, I'll wait. So we're currently day 6. V0, let's go. Oh yeah, V0 cooks. Oh, I want to show you really quick about this X app. So I have this X app that I've been vibe coding with, and I'm using Convex. And you can connect it to your Twitter account. So I think I connected mine to Twitter. And so this is the old AOL Instant Messenger thing. So back in the day, this is like called a buddy list. So we can say refresh all. So this will get all of your friends that you follow. You can kind of curate them into a buddy list. Oh, I probably need to update my refresh token. Refresh all. Global refresh cooldown. Okay, so you can organize them into these different groupings and stuff like that. And you can add a buddy. And what it does is I basically am able to read through and see who you interact with, and you kind of go through this like flow here. So it's onboarding. So what I do is I figure out like who are you talking with, and like who are you replying with the most, and who has actually replied to you. And what ends up happening is that now I can actually build like a really good buddy list based off of that. And what's nice about that is I can kind of keep track with your friends. And so this is something that I'm still prototyping, as you can kind of still see. But this actually is using Convex behind the hood. So you'll have like the real-time updates and reactivity. And then as you add folks, you can organize them into these different lists. So, you have your list here. You can add and remove people. You can add a buddy into the existing list. It even gives you some suggestions for buddies as well. And so I'm, using some AI coding as well. So I do YOLO. And so this is person I added here. So yeah, I'm still kind of working out the kinks, but I also have some sounds as well. So I think you have the, I don't know if you can hear. Oh, let me see if I can turn on unmute the Safari sounds. So you guys should be able to hear them now. Oh, it doesn't play. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't have the sign off sound. Oh, okay. It was working earlier. Let me refresh. Yeah, this is really cool. So yeah, more soon. I think this is still a work in progress. I think I got light mode and dark mode. Yeah. So yeah, this is supposed to be kind of like a throwback app. So we'll see. It's kind of fun to like build this type of stuff. And that's like, Lisa is busy something. So this was fire. Yeah. No, I love this type of stuff. So yeah, our meetups will be pretty much more structured than this, but like, I think the meetups will be something about like kind of meet up, hang out, do some prompting, building apps, and then start sharing. Anyone who's got prompting, or if anyone's using like a cool memory thing like someone was talking about, please share that. If you're using Claude Code, what are you using to generate specs? Do these little like kind of things, and maybe have some people present any apps that they're working with. Would be kind of fun for our meetup. So yeah, our first meetup in San Francisco or Menlo Park would be pretty fire. Sign up at StartMy.ai, and then we're going to try to get that going as well. And so that'll be like, right now it's just like a free workshop stuff that we're going to do. But yeah, let me know. And thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check out that 25 days of agents. So 25daysofagents.com, and that'll get you your credits there. And if you're in the Discord, you'll see those in the Discord as well. And that's what's up. All right, y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Peace out.